What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. The brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake at the back of the pack,
There was so many weird things in that Karen Reed case. So many. Been said.
Hey daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda
Hey daddies.
from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome everybody. I'm Will Bird. This is the Cold Beer Confessional. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. We're back again. A little bit late. I was waiting on Mariah to get here. She came to pick something up. But she's headed home now. So we're in it, I guess. Big news going on. First of all, if you want to support the stream, do that coldbeer.fund. That's the website behind me, coldbeer.fund. Where you can find all the links to support the show, all the donation links. Greatly appreciate that. People were talking about the Karen Reed case. I might pull up a video of that in a second. But before we get there, we do have an issue here. And that is Ethan Klein. I don't know how I feel about this yet. I think I support Ethan Klein. I don't like Ethan Klein. I'm not a fan. Ethan Klein years ago stood up to someone that was trying to sue him for copyright infringement for reacting to videos. Now, they were honest reactions, kind of like I do. We watch videos, we talk about them, we go over it, what we agree with, what we disagree with, whatever. And won, right? Because it's fair use. He had a huge fair use case, 10 years ago. And he sued a bunch of people, and a lot of people know him for that, right? He crowdfunded, he sued, he won. It's the only really precedent, case-wise, in YouTube law back then and probably still now. It was fair use. And he should have been able to react. Basically, they not only did they watch a video, they made a parody of this like really cringy like dating video. They made a parody of it. They made jokes about it. They talked about how horrible it was, but they talked about the whole thing. Some creators don't do that. So there's like a meme going around that is like chair reacts and shit. Like people like Hassan. There are people that'll just start playing a video because they're under contract, okay? A lot of them are under a contract to stream like 8 hours a day. So they'll start playing a 2-hour-long video about something, and they'll just get up and leave. Go cook dinner, go use the bathroom, go visit with family, go whatever, right? And they're technically stealing views from whoever made that original content. It's very strange. Most people are in the middle, okay? Most people are in the middle. So, a lot of people react and give commentary and use it to inform or whatever, talk about it. And some people are just ripping off content. Ethan Klein is suing 3 creators currently for ripping off content. And that's what we're going to be looking at here with this video. Let me get you some audio.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars on lawyers. Hi there, my name is Ethan Klein, and my favorite hobby is spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on lawyers. Today I invite you into my home to share my favorite pastime with you. Join me in creating generational wealth for my attorney.
I do think it's funny he starts off and he's burning money, because usually that's what these legal cases are.
Let me tell you guys a story.
So I don't know if you guys remember, but a few weeks back, maybe a month, I don't know how long it's been, he made a video he called a content nuke on Hassan. And Hassan, like, having terrorists on, like, being anti-Semitic, saying crazy anti-Semitic things, and a lot of people reacted to that stream.
About a year and a half ago, it's a big conversation called ReactGate. ReactGate was a debate going on in the streaming community about what constituted fair use. People like Hassan, XQC, and many of the large Twitch streamers would watch other creators' entire video on their stream. They would rarely add sufficient commentary or even pause the video to speak. Most egregiously, they would re-upload the entire VOD to YouTube with the same thumbnail, the same title, so that they could cannibalize traffic from the original video. Here's what Lamino had to say about this phenomenon.
I don't mind people reacting
Lamino makes content that a lot of people react to.
to my videos, but I do mind when they play the entirety of my video. A face cam in the corner with the occasional interruption does nothing to address that issue. My video is still being played from beginning to end in someone else's stream or video. It's neither ethical nor necessary to feature the entirety of someone else's work, or they could do the bare minimum and ask for permission, something that none of the major reaction channels have ever done when they've streamed or re-uploaded my videos. But to answer your question, no, I don't want people to stream or re-upload the entirety of my videos.
Now, understandably, this made a lot of people angry, because why should these content thieves, essentially, get more views than the author of the video, which in a lot of cases was happening? I mean, people don't like injustice, and we all see this, and no, it's not right. This debate culminated when XQC, one of the prime suspects, called into my...
So XQC is real bad about doing it, and they had a debate about it. And honestly, Ethan, even though he's not a debater, won the debate.
...show to debate me, in which case I'm sad to report that I was terribly owned. So in that regard, do you care at all about like IP or copyright? Or like the fact that it's illegal? Does that matter? That it might be illegal, does that matter to you?
No.
It doesn't matter.
Well, if flat out doesn't, because...
Well, that's fair.
Watch me full screen cam, do the fucking worm, then watch your plan. Then watch your plan
Do it
content.
for a week. Do a week of no reaction content and see how many fucking views you get. Oh, okay, sure. I mean, that's content, man. It's original content, at least. The ultimate debate, bro. He hit him with the worm. Oh, why didn't I think of that first? I kid.
So in the middle of this, he says that I could just full screen cam do the worm, and I would still have more viewers than these YouTubers who make these YouTube videos that I react to.
XQC, but he is not the one I'm suing. Despite my criticism, he's not a malicious infringer, but the ones I am suing, you'll see, are much, much worse. Now, ironically, after this debate and in the wake of this large conversation, the problem seems to have only gotten worse. You have people like Hassan Piker paving the way of fair use with what's known as chair reacts. When Hassan gets up to go to the bathroom, or to eat, or to talk to his mom, or to do whatever, disappears for an extended period of time and leaves the video playing for his chair. Mr. Chair, they call it.
IDF had warned people to leave the area around the main airport.
All right, so watch these video clips. This is Hassan just getting up, leaving, and letting the video play for 10, 20, 30, an hour. It just depends what he's doing. Now, Hassan 100% has a contract. Some of these other creators don't. They just stream 4, 5, 6 hours a day. Hassan 100% has a contract. He's got to be streaming like 8 hours a day.
And it was in this setting.
No, you can have plenty of breaks. The video should be playing while you take a fucking hour-long break.
That I formulated an idea. What if I could make a long-form, irresistible piece of content that I knew that these streamers couldn't resist, they couldn't avoid the temptation of watching it the second it was published?
I don't have an issue with them.
It's not that I wanted these people to steal my video. It's that I knew they would. I knew they would watch the entire...
What's his name that we used to cover in the Q movement? Somebody just said his name. What's his name? Hawk? Is that it? He does this. He takes like 20 daily shows, like these daily podcasts, these QAnon daily podcasts, and he shows them all on his stream where he's not even on there.
Video, add little to no commentary, react to it instantly, giving them no time to form an opinion. The trap was set, and it worked even better.
I think the worst part about him, these people that he's deciding to sue, is they literally say, like, thanks for watching it with me so you don't give him views.
Than I imagined it would. We captured pretty much every large streamer reacting to it in its entirety immediately after it was published. Now, the thing is, there were a few people that went above and beyond to commit copyright infringement. For example, Venom sits here silently with nearly 50,000 live viewers. That's 30 times her regular viewership. She's working directly with the Snark subreddit moderators to siphon views, and their intentions couldn't be clearer. Here's an
Hey, everyone. We see a lot of comments about wanting to watch the nuke without showing support for H3. Several creators have mentioned they're planning on streaming their reactions or post-reaction videos in coming days. Here's a list of creators who supported our sub, either by engaging with us directly or citing our post in their own critiques of H3. If you're planning to watch along with any of them, we ask that you carry out subs rules in those spaces too. Feel free to check out, and then it lists everybody's stream. Happy snarking from your respective bunkers. Please feel free to share links to other streams creators and react yourselves down below.
excerpt from a sticky post from the Snark subreddit. Hey everyone, we've seen a lot of comments about wanting to watch the nuke without showing support for H3. Here's a list of creators who
I get up to pee, right?
supported our sub either by engaging
It's part of it. You're going to have to piss eventually.
with us directly or citing our post in their critique of H3. Here they're offering these streamers as market substitutes for my work. This is the cardinal sin of copyright infringement. The Snark subreddit has been a frequent and persistent infringer. That's how I knew when this video came out, the Snarkers were going to encourage, promote, and push streamers to commit copyright infringement. I should thank the Snarkers actually. Because of their predictability, they acted like double agents for us, incriminating their favorite streamers and serving them up on a golden platter. So thank you, Snark. It's one thing for a subreddit to admit it's engaging in copyright infringement, but how do you get the streamers themselves to admit that they're stealing content?
And this is probably where they fucked up. Right? They literally admitted that the reason they're doing this is so that no one else watches Ethan's content. So Ethan makes money from views. And they're saying, watch it with me, don't give them the views so he doesn't make the money. So if you're going through down a copyright case, that's the worst thing you can say. That's the worst fucking thing you can say, right? And maybe that is where you're morally at. You don't want Ethan to have money because you disagree with him morally, but you can't just come out and say that. Somebody's going to sue you for it.
Well, guys, if you enjoyed not giving any views to that terrible video, follow, subscribe, throw a prime if you like the content, if you enjoyed your time here.
It turns out they just do it for you. You couldn't cook up a more incriminating statement if you tried. Denim's the queen of self-owning. You prevail again. There's one thing about copyright you should know is that you got to register it before you
A piss bottle? I am the piss bottle. There is a fake truck stop on Facebook I follow, and their mascot is a piss jug. It's called Selena 52. It's fake. It's a fake gas station, but a lot of people think that the page is real, and they run all these weird fake ads, and like their security guard's like a blind dude. It's just crazy things. But their mascot's a piss jug.
Eligible for statutory damages and attorney's fees, which is the main biting force of a copyright infringement lawsuit. Well, I'm happy to tell you guys now, I, Ethan Klein, have registered Hassan Piker content nuke with the United States Library of Congress. Some of you guys out there sweating?
So to go for copyright, it has to be copywritten, right? To do this, a lot of times legally, you have to register it with Library of Congress, right? Technically, as soon as you make it, the copyright's there for you that you hold. And you can try to use that standard copyright to put pressure on others. You can try to have the platform take down other people's videos with that. But eventually you're going to have to go to court. What happens with the platform, like YouTube, let's say somebody re-uploads my video. I say, YouTube, hey, this is my video. They re-uploaded it. YouTube sends them a warning and takes down the video. If they dispute it, if they say, no, this is my own video, or this is fair use, or this is educational, this is satire, or this is whatever their excuse is, YouTube tells me that I've got a week to file in court. And they wash their hands of it. They don't give a fuck what happens after that, right? Because it's not their responsibility. They have to send the notice, or at least make an honest attempt when someone claims copyright infringement, but they kind of wash their hands of it. It's me and that person now going to court. Most of them don't get that far because who's got the money to fucking spend in court? But if you do have the money, I guess you can get that far.
Even though theoretically I could sue a lot more creators and rake in millions of dollars, but the purpose of this is not financial gain. People like XQC and Asmongold may have watched the entire thing, but I would never sue them just for doing that. I don't want to chill the reaction community into fear. Actually, the opposite. I hope that we can all unite against this type of egregious behavior that not only makes us all look bad, but could destroy the commentary community as we know it.
Well, guys, if you enjoyed not giving any views to that terrible video, follow, subscribe, throw.
I think if you're going to be away from the screen for more than like a couple, or you're going to turn off your camera or be away from the screen for more than like a couple minutes, you got to do something else. Put a be right back screen up, play music, something, right? I don't think you just let the video play for 5, 10, 15, 20, an hour long, right?
Prime.
The state of reaction content on Twitch is so broken, these creators feel comfortable looking right into a camera and saying outright, hey, I'm stealing this guy's content. Pay me instead of him. This is not a healthy environment. And with people like Hassan reacting to entire TV shows on stream, my fear is that Sony or Disney comes along, sues everybody, and sets a devastating...
I don't know if it's entrapment as much as he's saying, like, I knew they would do this. Because before their video launched, everybody knew it was coming out that day, and they were posting, setting up these watch parties, basically, saying, hey, we're not going to watch it from him. We're not going to give him the views. We're not going to give him the money. We're going to go over here and watch it.
Precedent that could endanger our entire field. Now, before I tell you who the 3 people I'm suing are, I just want to make it clear that they all met this very specific high bar of criteria that I set forth earlier. These people were not targeted based on their gender, their identity, their political beliefs. All 3 are on this.
Well, I mean, these live streamers are on Twitch. But same thing. Here's one on YouTube. I mean, you could do the same thing for YouTube.
list. In fact, they're the only 3, as far as I could tell, that reacted to the full video. Drum roll, please. Who's sweating at home, guys? Casey Tron.
I don't think they'll lose their channel. Like, if you ever go watch like Hassan clips, like he just straight up uses the same thumbnail and puts his face in front of it, and then one for one watches the video. And if it's something he's interested in, he likes to talk about it, right? He's insightful. He'll talk to chat about it. He'll pause the video. He'll have a discussion. And if it's something he's not really that interested in, or maybe he's got something else on his mind, he just lets it play while he sits down in the corner.
Queen of ripping farts and bong loads.
They do musicals. They're very musical people. I know.
Casey Tron.
Dog, what do you look? You think I made this?
Frogan, who bless her soul, she's still rising.
Can I use
Rogan.
use the bathroom? Do I have permission? Can I use the bathroom, please? I'll leave it playing.
Apparently thinks Twitch is liable for me interviewing a Yemeni teenager who's only known genocide his entire life.
What happened?
And Denim's the queen of self-owning. And my God, is she the queen of that?
It's very obvious from the way that guy's talking, he's a Sneeko fan.
Oh my God, bro, I love you. Can I give you a hug?
I'm so sweaty, bro.
H3? H3 has a pretty big audience, yeah.
You both?
None of the hostages that have been released so far have said that they've been raped. The hostages have public statements. You can go look at them.
The sexual assault I experienced should never happen to any human being.
This Yemeni kid is just a Yemeni kid with a gun and is not a Houthi, and there is no proof of him being a Houthi.
Are you a soldier? Yes. That seems pretty definitive.
He never said Hassan Nasrallah was a good guy.
I can't believe I'm calling Nasrallah base. I mean, listen.
Now for the fun part. Let's take a look at the complaints. And let's start with my favorite of the 3.
Okay.
The very own, the prestigious, the highly acclaimed, the highly analytical Casey Tron.
A lot of people have been wanting to watch this without necessarily supporting Ethan Klein. So we're going to watch it.
Again, you can't just outright say that, right? Like, even if that is your thought process, even if that is the right reason you're doing it, it's kind of wild to say, like, hey, we're going to watch this together so he doesn't get any of the views.
Well, that's a really dumb thing to say, don't you think? Why are you so comfortable? We've given each complaint a clever little title, and here's Casey Tron's. She smoked more than she spoke. Casey Tron smokes 42 times during her reaction. And just as a silly thought experiment, we thought, wouldn't it be funny if she spent more time smoking than she did talking? And thinking there was no way that that could be true. Well, we tallied them up, and lo and behold, there's 15 minutes, 40 seconds of commentary versus 18 minutes and 55 seconds of smoking. She spent 3 minutes and 15 seconds longer smoking than she did talking in her quote-unquote reaction. And whatever talking she did was just to express how confused she was, presumably, from smoking 42 times.
What is happening? I'm trying to follow. I've lost the plot.
The complaint continues. Indeed, Casey Tron is often too obliterated to comment on the nuke, and instead stares blankly at her computer screen. In a span of 2 hours and 7 minutes, Casey Tron smokes marijuana, frequently in highly concentrated forms through vaporizers, on 42 separate occasions. At one point, Casey Tron is so wasted that she states, quote, "What is happening? I'm trying to follow, but I've lost the plot." To give you an idea, the majority of her commentary comes down to this.
I don't understand this bit that he's doing.
He's read more books.
That's pretty bad.
CPM's coming out Qatar.
What the hell is
kids love
going
anime,
on?
right?
He's read more books.
The only reason I know about this, I went to Twitter and all these fucking people were doing GoFundMes to raise money for their legal defense.
That you could ever imagine.
What is happening? I'm trying to follow. I've lost the plot.
They do musicals. They're very musical people. I know. Are you being serious? Dog, what do you look? You think I made this? This isn't a music video, Hassan.
And as dumb as all of that is, this is the part that really got her sued.
A lot of people have been wanting to watch this without necessarily supporting Ethan Klein. Without necessarily supporting Ethan Klein. So we're going to watch it. What the fuck is going on here?
Stating outright that her intention of doing this is so that people who don't want to support me can watch it through her is why copyright infringement laws exist.
I don't think that's the reason copyright exists, right? Like, oh, I want to watch this movie, but I don't want to pay, you know, whoever was in it or directed it or whatever. So I'm just going to steal it. That's why say that.
Could not and should not do that.
Just imply it, if anything, right? Like, I'm glad we got to watch this together. Wink, wink, or something. Like, don't say that.
Especially if your commentary consists of you taking bong.
I have 100% shown videos on my stream because I think the people that made that videos, they don't deserve the views. They're horrible fucking Q-tards and far right-wing pieces of shit. But you just can't come out and say it, right? Maybe I have in the past. I don't want to say I've never done it, but Jesus Christ.
At least try to engage with the content. Oh, what was that? Oh, sorry. That was a flying star. It almost got me. You know her and you love her, guys. Frogan. Reaction by exiting. Here she is getting up to leave.
People make fun of Frogan because 2 years in a row, she was voted like the best new streamer, which doesn't even fucking make sense, right? How can be the best new or the rising star or whatever 2 years in a row?
The video running as she steps out of the room. Is that transformative? I guess the judge will decide. She said, quote, "It's time to watch the new nuke ethically." Hell yeah. Huh. Very smart to say on camera, by the way. She said, quote, "Thank you guys so much. I do appreciate everyone's support. And thank you for watching it with me." Well, you are so welcome, and I'm so glad that you were able to enjoy that day. Her commentary is so non-existent that even her own fans begin to call her out.
I don't have anything to say. Dude, because he's cycling the same fucking points over and over again. What more?
So her own chat, they might not have been her fans, right? It could have been anybody, but her own chat was like, you don't have anything to say about this?
Her commentary is so non-existent that even her own fans begin to call her out.
Don't have anything to say? Dude, because he's cycling the same fucking points over and over again. What more commentary do you need on him repeating the same fucking points for the whole first hour and 1 minute and 32 seconds? It's been the same shit over and over again. This video could have been condensed into 20 fucking minutes. Like, what commentary do you want me to add by, like, oh, this guy's a fucking idiot, he's mentally ill, and he's having a mental breakdown and uploaded it to fucking YouTube? You're gonna make at least one good point. What do you want me to make a point on?
Oh, I forgot. She also said, can I use the bathroom, please? I'll leave it playing. You may use the bathroom, Frogan, although I don't advise it.
Can I use the bathroom, please? I'll leave it playing.
This into your stomach. And let me state the obvious. Jew and
apparently thinks Twitch is liable for me interviewing a Yemeni teenager who's only known genocide his entire life.
What happened?
fucking talking about. You just pause it. That's it. You just pause
What happened?
the video, right? Like, you get up and you go to the bathroom, you just pause it. They should be watching for you. But if you get up to go to the bathroom and they keep watching my video, they're clearly not watching for you, right? As lazy and pathetic as her reaction is, this is not why she's getting sued. This is.
Thank you guys so much. I do appreciate everyone's support. And thank you for watching it with me. First time viewer, time to watch the nuke ethically? Hell yeah. I found my way from Reddit. Hi guys, welcome Reddit people. Reddit people, Reddit people. I came from the HV Star credit. Ethan is so pathetic while his son is independent father having a great time. Exactly. We're gonna watch it live, yes. He doesn't want people to know when it's dropping because we're all watching through other streamers. And I suggest you all watch it through other people as well.
It's the stated malicious intent to steal. They talk about watching ethically, but I learned not to steal when I was 5. Up next is Denims. And honestly, just take a look at this, guys. It's a nightmare on Denim Street. Not only did she chair react, but she was kind enough to write her name right at the top just so that we knew that she was stealing my content and it was her room and nobody else's. Judge, did you know that we're on Denim Street right now? Here's some quotes from Denims. We're relying on you to stay live so we don't have to give the nuke views. Yeah, I'm gonna stream it. Since he's confirmed it's coming out today, I'm gonna stream it. That is very explicit.
Yeah, it's basically like, I'm going to commit a crime later today. And I guess they just thought then no one would call him out. I don't know.
Said, quote, well, guys, if you enjoyed not giving any views to that terrible video, give me a follow, subscribe, throw a prime if you like my content. Your content? The Queen of Self-Own included a countdown timer so we could tell exactly how long she was away. After being gone for a few minutes, she returns and then sits silently for another couple of minutes eating.
I'm going to go pee, and hopefully, when I'm back, they're done with this.
All right.
You do look better.
Mr. 305. I see it.
Dude, you should do this. I have an alternate.
We're relying on you to stay live so we don't get more views on the nuke. Yeah, I'm gonna stream it. Since he confirmed it's coming out today, we're gonna stream it. If you want to watch it with someone else who's already watching it, you know, come enjoy the watch party somewhere else. If you enjoyed not giving any views to that terrible video, follow, subscribe, throw a prime. If you like the content, if you enjoyed your time here, because I'm going to be honest, I did not want to watch that by myself.
Let me also commercialize it by asking you to reward me financially for stealing his content. That is like chef kiss. By the way, Denims had a very successful stream. She had 43,000 people watching her live. Take a look at the title of her Twitch stream. Ethan Klein Hassan Content Nuke Watch Party. A watch party? I don't think that's fair use. Now, Denims, of course, always delivering the goods. She went on this dude's podcast to debate fair use. And would you be surprised if I told you she said a lot of incriminating things in that podcast? The Queen of Self-Own never disappoints.
I want to be clear on my opinion on like filler content and stuff. Like, I think filler content, like, you shouldn't do it. I know I do it as a react stream. And I try to do it only when I do it with like Vox videos or Vice videos and stuff like that, because at least I'm not like directly ripping from one content creator and not like a whole team and stuff. And most of those videos have like 5 million views. I only get like 500 viewers. I'm taking maybe 50 views from the video. It's a lot harder to feel like, I guess, bad about that. Whereas like I would feel very bad about doing that to like a single content creator. The majority of people say that they literally wouldn't watch Hell's Kitchen unless I was streaming it. And it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm reacting hard enough. You know, I'm sure if you click on a random part in the video, I might not be saying anything, sure, whatever. And I might walk away from the screen, but it's about like the communal thing. It's why like fucking Toast started streaming Death Note. It's not about the actual show at a certain point. It's the same reason you watch shows with your friends. You want to watch it with other people. A lot of people go to watch streamers on Twitch for their react content almost as a curator. So they don't actually want to go through YouTube themselves and watch a bunch of videos. And they probably never will go through YouTube and click a bunch of videos.
No, she's saying she feels better streaming from or stealing the content from like Vox or like a news agency or whatever, because that's like a gigantic corporation, than she would stealing from a single YouTube creator.
videos. They like going to Twitch because they like to have it as like, this streamer is curating fun content that I want to watch. From the people that I've talked to, the people who watch Twitch content are specifically there to watch it so they don't have to scroll through YouTube and find a video they like. If someone watches content, I already said this, if someone watches content on someone else's stream, there is a very low likelihood that they're going to go watch it separately and give you like the view or the like. People who are watching content on Twitch, curated Twitch content on Twitch, aren't necessarily people that would be watching content on YouTube.
That, my friend, is called theft, and you're a thief, and now I'm suing you. This is just a testimony to how brazen and how safe they've, gotten. That she thinks she can go out in public on video and say shit like, I'm stealing this content because I want to. I'm coping even though I know it's stealing. When people watch it with me, they're definitely not going to go watch the original. Like, you are way too comfortable committing crimes out in the open. Well, there you have it. 3 separate lawsuits for 3 separate geniuses. Now, I want to make it clear again, and I hope it's been obvious about why I'm suing these 3 people and not others. These people not only violated all of the principles of fair use, they also did it maliciously. And that's the part that really got me. I think if you're a reactor on Twitch, for the most part, if you make a good faith effort.
I think I had been seeing posts that he had like this big announcement coming out, and that everybody'd want to see it, whatever, like this big thing coming out. But I thought that was supposed to happen on Tuesday. I guess it could have been Thursday. I can't remember.
To comment. And if you make a good faith effort to promote the author, to link to them, to try to drive traffic to the original video, I think you're probably pretty much doing the right thing, and that's fine. And I would never sue someone for that. Take it to these 3 absolute morons to state their intention to steal my property on video. And to all the detractors who are saying that I'm targeting women, that I'm a hypocrite for suing for copyright infringement, I just have this to say. I don't care. What I do hope, though, is that you support their crowdfunding efforts to defend themselves. Because let's face it, I want to make sure there's money left over for me when I win my lawsuits. Thanks for watching, everybody. It's been a great time. I'll see you around.
There you go. Encouraging you to support their crowdfunding. And that's how I found it. I don't know if it's still up. Here it is. Denims. It's 2025, and Ethan Klein is suing creators for fair use. Legal defense fund below. Streaming coming soon. Image unrelated. And it says, Denims v. Ethan Klein fair use lawsuit defense fund, $100,000 goal. She's raised $5,000. Ethan Klein is suing me for reacting to his video on Hassan Content Nuke, Hassan Packer. This fundraiser is to cover any and all legal fees associated with his complaint. His video and then an archived version of his video, and that's it so far. Someone said, here's $5 to give to Ethan Klein. Damn. That's a rough donation. It's a rough one. Anyways, that's the only reason I knew about it. So there you go. Ethan Klein suing 3 curators for what he claims is malicious copyright infringement, and basically bragging about it, I would say. That's the video that's out. Love it or hate it, there it is. What's next? Oh, this clip was pretty good, actually. Scott Bassett in front of Congress.
I want to congratulate you. You have a very sophisticated constituency to ask questions like this.
Just because you're poor doesn't mean you're ignorant. I actually, with all due respect, only get 5 minutes. So I'm going to ask, my constituents have sent me a list of questions that they just want yes or no answers to. And out of respect for the time and the fact that they want some clarity, I hope that you'll just say yes or no. The first question.
God, I hope Bert comes after me.
Is, will the big, beautiful bill.
What's he coming after me for now?
Add to the national debt? Yes or no? Is that a yes or a no? That's a no? Yes?
Sorry?
What did you say? I'm sorry.
It remains to be seen.
The second.
It remains to be seen. Well, that doesn't make much sense.
The question that they want me to ask is, will all Americans have a net benefit from this beautiful big bill?
It is it's difficult to.
Yes or no?
Again, it's impossible to say all Americans. It is ridiculous for me to give an answer for 337 million.
So someone who makes $1 million, and no one in my district makes $1 million, to my knowledge, will get a tax increase. Will get a tax benefit of $81,000. That's $223 a day. Now, the average tax rate in 2027 for people making under $50,000, which in my district is about 63% of the people that I represent, they will only get a tax break of $265, which is 73 cents per day. But the fact of the matter is, if you're only saving me $268 and you're taking away my health care, you're taking away my health, which 16 million Americans will have no health care, will lose their health care, and they have to lose their health care in order for you guys to actually pay for your bill. I mean, to pay for your bill by kicking people off health insurance and giving them no health care, to me, is immoral and not fair. The last question that I was asked to ask you was, when will we hit the debt ceiling?
I want to congratulate you. You have a very sophisticated constituency to ask questions like this.
So either he's calling her a liar, and saying this, or I don't. They're making fun of her constituents. One of the two. Like, oh, well, they never asked this. Rather, they're not. They can't think this critically about the budget and the bills and everything else, or he's making fun of them. I don't know.
That the so-called X date is a.
With all due respect, just because you're poor doesn't mean you're ignorant.
I want to congratulate you. You have a very sophisticated.
Wild. That's what you're leading off with. And then we had this. I think is from today as well. Aaron Parnas.
We have some news right now. The Washington Post is now reporting that nobody is talking to Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth at the White House. There is no interface between Hegseth and the White House, and both Hegseth and Tulsi Gabbard, the Director of National Intelligence, are being subtly iced out over what's happening in Iran. Donald Trump is focusing on CIA Director John Ratcliffe, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and others, but his own Secretary of Defense and Director of National Intelligence are not as involved. And here's the thing. That's a bit concerning because the Secretary of Defense is responsible for the Pentagon. The Pentagon is responsible for all strikes that may or may not happen on Iran, all troops that may or may not be involved. So if the White House and Secretary of Defense Hegseth are not speaking, the question is who's responsible for the troops? Who's responsible for issuing the orders? Who's going to be...
Who the fuck knows?
On Iran. And as
God, it's a mess.
Post notes, there's no interface operationally right now. So spread the word. I'll do a full breakdown on my Substack, linked in bio, so subscribe for free. And as always, follow along for more.
I did not see... Somebody just asked from Rumble, did you get the video of Johnny Gobble slapping Triple T? I only saw the clip that Ryan Upchurch uploaded. Is there a longer video than the one that Ryan Upchurch uploaded? It was just like 2 quick clips. It wasn't great. But that's a whole separate drama. Who knows who's leading the Department of Defense right now? Here is, actually, speaking of which, that's Hoosier. What is this?
How fucking convenient is that? Went to go look at my Instagram messages, and look who just so happened to try to call me on Instagram.
2 weeks to flatten the curve of Iranian nuclear missiles. I guess he's saying Jelly Roll, try to call him.
Kelly Tubbs.
By the way, have you guys heard Jelly Roll's song with Lil Wayne? It's bad. The chorus is Jelly Roll. And these are the words of the chorus. I can't play it on here because it's an instant copyright strike, right? But the chorus, the words of the chorus are, snakes ain't always in the grass. Sharks ain't always in the water. Thieves ain't always in the night. And God ain't always at the altar. I learned to live with one eye open. Takes getting bit a couple times to know that. Snakes ain't always in the grass. Yeah. Sharks ain't always in the water. Uh-huh. Like, I get it. He's saying like people can be snakes, right? Or sharks. But what a weird fucking way to, like, snakes ain't in the grass, sharks ain't in the water. Well, yeah, they are. It's so bad. It's so bad. I would not advise listening to it. And there's like these fucking millennials, I guess, that are all reacting to it on TikTok in the exact same way. They have the lyrics on the screen, and they're going, they're pointing at him like this. Snakes ain't always in the water. Sharks ain't always snakes ain't always in the grass. Sharks ain't always in the water. And that's the whole video. And they're like, don't you get it? Do you get how deep it is? It's bad. I mean, Lil Wayne's in it. I don't even like Lil Wayne's part. And I grew up on Lil Wayne. I love Lil Wayne. All his shit. I don't even like this Lil Wayne song. It's bad.
Are you worried about the proof that I got that you tried to have some fucked up shit done to me? Huh. I'd say so. Then.
So the claim here, a girl that Hoosier was dating, okay, came up with some claims that maybe Hoosier had forced himself or abusive or something, some type of claims about Hoosier. Then she backed down really quick. Ryan Upchurch is saying that Jelly Roll's wife, Bunny, had those girls do this on purpose, and they have them do it to people all the time to ruin their career. I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but I just don't know the details to prove that someone did this to him. He could just be a piece of shit, and he pressured her to, be quiet about it.
I went to go look at your Instagram, and look at this. What's the matter, belly roll? Are you nervous? Yeah, you nervous. Because you know I got it.
This is all relative to the Ryan Upchurch meltdown as well.
No, you did it. Tisk, 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 tisk. Shouldn't fuck around. That fire always comes back and burns you right in the ass.
Oh, there you go. And then the video that they were talking about just now, this is the video, this is the copy of it that I got. You guys remember Johnny Gobble, right? This is the clip of this from two different cameras. Triple T brought the trailer park out of Merle. Oh no. This is the video of Johnny Gobble getting in a fight in a parking lot. Oh, this is not the one that I watched earlier. I'm sorry. J. Hot Ashbury uploaded two different ones. This is a longer one. So here we go.
Somebody's yelling on her.
I know he is. That's why he's here. That's why he's here.
Looks like they're in a Lowe's parking lot. That's Triple T's channel. You can see it right there. TTT.
I've never seen a podcast so fucking dedicated. Wow. Hey, Mo.
Hey, Mo, how you doing?
I guess he's the tour guy then.
Sorry.
Yes, ma'am. I'm the tour guy and pilot. He said
They like to antagonize.
said they're gonna smack.
And the streams that he's been doing say Triple T in Paintsville. So he's in Johnny's hometown. That was from 1 day ago, 23 hours ago, 21 hours ago.
You when they get here. Please.
All right, we'll just wait through it. You're good, Dr. J.
Said they're gonna smack you when they get here. Please do.
Said they're going to smack you when they get here. And he said, please do. I don't know what all that noise is, dude.
Wild It's Triple T.
They sure enough had every intention of jumping him just like they were going to do at Walmart. Here, dude, say, let's go.
What is going on?
These are grown ass men, by the way. Right? What is this dude? Fucking 50? He's driving to Paintsville, Kentucky to get in an altercation with Johnny Gobbler. He's got Triple T has 18,000 subscribers.
Let's go. Johnny Gobble's here.
Let's go.
What are you doing, Johnny?
Get me in fucking trouble.
What are you gonna do?
I'll tell you what.
What are you gonna do?
Smack your fucking brains. That's what I would do. That's exactly what I would do. You come here for the trouble. You come here for the trouble. You come here for the trouble. You didn't think I'd show you what? What the fuck?
Here, you motherfuckers ain't gonna jump in.
You motherfuckers ain't gonna jump him, by God.
Hey, I ain't jumping. Hey, you motherfuckers ain't gonna jump him.
Come on, get it away! Get it away! Come on! Yeah! Damn you, motherfucker!
Tim, don't you jump in! Tim, don't you jump in!
Don't you jump in. Don't do it. Don't you.
Motherfuckers on board! You motherfuckers! You bunch of motherfuckers on board! Motherfuckers on board! You bunch of fucking pussies! Bunch of fucking pussies! I got it on camera! I got it on live! Let's go, Johnny! I got it on camera! I got it on live!
To be fair, the video I've seen, Johnny Gobble slaps the fuck out of both of them. So, and they don't do shit.
Let's go, Johnny! You done did what you need to do and said what the fuck you need to say!
Do it. All right, get the fuck out of my goddamn face.
You done did what you needed to do. Let's go.
Get the fuck out of my face. Fuck out of here. That smacks you.
Is he winding up?
Once you act like he gonna do something, fuck the 90-year-old fucking pussy sidewalk fucking sissy. Once you act like he gonna do something, fuck he was the 90-year-old fucking pussy sidewalk.
Dude, I think I was the last generation of like kids that were like townies. So when we were in high school, I did a lot of drugs, which I think all kids do drugs. But we just hung out in parking lots to talk to each other. Like we would just park in a parking lot, do drugs, and talk to each other through like in the back of a truck or through the windows down. Kids don't do that anymore, I don't think.
Let's go, Johnny. You done did what you needed to do and said what the fuck you need to say.
Do it. All right, get the fuck out of my goddamn face.
You done did what you needed to do. Let's go.
Get the fuck out of my face. Fuck out of here. That smacks you.
Once you act like he gonna do something, fuck the 90-year-old fucking pussy sidewalk fucking sissy. You're fucking pussy sidewalk fucking
Hurt pussy sidewalk sissies.
Once you act like he gonna do something, fuck he was the 90-year-old fucking pussy sidewalk fucking sissy. Yeah, that's exactly what you're, because he was fucking dog walking you, fucking whore.
I dog walk you.
You done did say what you need to say. Let's go.
He's not gonna keep on walking along.
Johnny, you done did say what you
There's a better angle. Don't worry, we're getting there.
need to say. Let's go.
He's not gonna keep on walking up on me.
This is what you motherfuckers came here for. You know what the fuck you all came here for. No, this is what you motherfuckers came here for. You knew what the fuck you all were coming for. No, you don't fucking tell me shut up. I'll smack your goddamn mouth. You fucking hear me? I'll knock your goddamn fucking on tail. You fucking weak ass fucking y'all better get the fuck out of our town. You're a fucking weak ass fucking whore.
Get the fuck out of my town. Get the fuck out of my town, weak ass whore.
Yeah, right. You fucking did like you got something. You're a fucking pussy. Yeah. You see, my old man knock you the fuck down.
Yeah, that's what we would do. We would have maybe, well, not 30. The parking lot wasn't big enough. And then at some point during this time when we would do this, the cops started running us off. I guess businesses complained or whatever. The cops started running us off for a while, but then we just ended up in the woods doing incredibly more dangerous shit. And then they stopped running us off and just let us sit there. We'd probably have, I don't know, 10, 15 vehicles there.
Bitch. Bullshit. Let's go. Get the fuck out of our town. You're a fucking weak ass fucking horse. Yeah, right. You fucking dick like you got something. You're a fucking pussy. Yeah. You see my old man knock you the fuck down, bitch.
I don't think he snuck either one of them.
Bullshit. Let's go.
Snake me. Yeah. You snuck T and you snuck me.
Now, what the fuck's up?
I didn't want to get in any trouble.
All right, so here's the other angle.
What are you doing, Johnny? Johnny, don't.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna
So that's when Johnny walked up and said, I'd smack a fuck out of you or whatever he said.
Here, by God. Hey, look here, you motherfuckers ain't gonna jump him. You come here for the trouble. Y'all ain't jumping. Hey,
come on. You want it? You want it? I'm telling you. Come on, get it, boy. Get it, boy. Come on.
It's more like it's not a punch. It's like a half, like a club, like a slap with like his first knuckles rolled over. It's very weird. I slowed it down when I saw the clip earlier.
Yeah, motherfucker.
Tim, don't you jump in. Tim, don't you jump in.
You motherfucker. Get your fucking ass out.
You all come down here wanting it.
Come in for it.
That's a true athlete build right there.
Two of you motherfuckers on one. Two of you motherfuckers on one. You bunch of fucking pussies. Bunch of fucking pussies. I got it on camera. I got it on live. Let's go, Johnny. You done did what you needed to do and said what the fuck you needed to say.
Get the fuck out of my town. Come on. Get the fuck out of my town.
You done did what you needed to do. Let's go.
Get the fuck out of my goddamn face. Get the fuck out of my face.
There he is, winding up.
Get the fuck out of here. I done smacked you.
Watch him act like he's gonna do something. Fucking a 90-year-old fucking punk pussy sidewalk fucking sissy. Yeah, that's exactly what you are, because he would fucking dog walk you, you fucking whore.
I dog walk you. I would dog walk you. I dog walk you. You did what? You did what? Come on, motherfucker. You did what?
Johnny, you done did and said what you needed to say. Let's go.
He's not gonna keep on walking up on me. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. I don't want to beat so bad up. One more time. Yeah.
This is what you motherfuckers came here for. You know what the fuck you all were coming for. No, you don't fucking tell me shut up. I'll smack your goddamn brains out. You fucking hear me? I'll knock your goddamn brains out, you fucking thump. Fuck you.
He told her to be quiet. That was too much.
Y'all, I'll smack your goddamn. This is what you motherfuckers came here for. You knew what the fuck you all were coming for. No, you don't fucking tell me shut up. I'll smack your goddamn brains out. You fucking hear me? I'll knock your goddamn brains out, you fucking thump. Fuck you.
The good part is they can both. She can snap her teeth out, right, and then go to fucking war. Who are we cheering for? A sinkhole. A sinkhole to open up and take them all down with it.
Get the fuck out of our town. Fucking weak ass fucking horse.
A comet.
I grab you fucking dick like you got something. You're a fucking pussy. Yeah. You see my old man knock you the fuck down, bitch. Bullshit. Let's go.
Yeah. Snuck you.
Now, what the fuck's up, motherfuckers? Bring it. Bring it the fuck on. Ain't nobody fucking weak in this goddamn car. Now, you fucking punk. Got you fucking open hand slapping, you little whore. Fuck you all. I'll smack that fucking punk's brains out back there. They don't know me.
They don't even know her. She don't know her, I don't think. Does anybody know her?
Fucking punks. Anybody else?
Section 8 activities. It's a field trip.
Now.
So Upchurch, the reason it got attention is Upchurch, I'm sure it would have anyways, but it got a lot of attention from Upchurch sharing it on his stories.
The worst kind of argument in the world is one that there is no...
I'm sure there's like 50 of them, but we'll watch them.
On either side. That's pretty fucking blunt, isn't it? What do you know? You know, a lot of times when some of us on here say something captivating or passionate or patriotic, there's always somebody that looks and believes similar to us that gets caught up on one thing, and that's the history of the world's words. But the thing is, a lot of those words were were implemented to get you caught up and entangled in the first place. We sit around and we get caught up trying to...
Yeah, they don't know her, Billy.
By arguing about history.
He's very wealthy, right? He's got fucking platinum records, gold records.
This is our story now. So whose story are y'all arguing about?
Not his story. It's our story.
Because it ain't yours. Maybe the problem isn't reading history. Maybe it's defining it. Everything that has been printed for everyone to read hasn't been defined. Now go read define print.
I can't listen to this music. It's copyright. But he asked ChatGPT, it says, draw me the most secretive element of independence in music industry in current time that is liberating the minds of humans. He's asking AI to do that for him. He ends up with this.
Who is the king of Nashville? Question mark. Oh, it's me? I already knew that. I'm not trying to get under nobody's skin, okay? I'm trying to be a gnat in your ear. I mean, really, what are you worried about? Adam, Demon, Gnats, all of you. It's just words. Sticks and stones may break his bones. But words is never both.
He has these incredible meth runs where he thinks that people are posting images with a dog or a cat or with an empty chair or with someone sitting in a chair or whatever's in the background or whatever is all coded language about taking hits out on him, having him assassinated.
Never. Unless they hold a fuck ton of weight. Is it just me, or is it very enjoyable to sit here and watch these people struggle hella fucking hard to paint me a different way? Bro, it bothers the shit out of these people. They're like becoming unhinged. Oof. Keep going, you're doing good.
You know, I've done, let's say, 5 videos or so.
You know who that is, right? That's the pathetic patriot.
Reacting to this individual and his cult-like following. Only the bad ones, the ones that don't hold him accountable, that
his blood pressure must be doing pressurizing.
Glaze him and encourage him to never look in the mirror. That's what Creep Squad, Crack Squad is. The real Creekers have a concern for what he's doing, what he's showing. I don't care if you think he's onto something. Something is off. All right, and that's my opinion, but it also appears to be the...
Eli loves this. It's the only attention he gets, right? So he'll make 100 of these videos if Ryan Upchurch will fucking share a snippet of one.
Opinion of many people out there.
My name is Pumpernickel. I hate Upchurch. I speak for everyone out there in the world. We have the same brain. They also hate Upchurch. Everyone is worried. The devil's worried. Jesus is fucking worried. If Jesus has a cousin, he's worried too. Dude, something is wrong with these people. I'm just out here going to farmers markets, picking blackberries, going to yard sales. And they're like, someone help him, he's fucking crazy. What do you think they're going to do? Or how long do you think it's going to take for these people to realize? They're just like scared and confused because they have no fucking clue who they are. And they see people like myself just walking around unbothered. All these motherfuckers saying all this horrible shit to me. I'm like, hell yeah, brother, good job. Hell yeah, brother, good job. And it's like their blood pressure goes up just because they're like, I was like, oh, God, you got me. You really fucking got me. I'm sure there's blood somewhere from where you got me. Whoever would have thought, enjoying yourself, knowing who you are, and being totally content with life could make individuals so fucking explosively angry.
This is all from his Instagram. His Instagram stories will have like 60 of them on there every 24 hours.
That's not normal. That's weird. That's weird. There's something to that. There's something that caused that to be a side effect.
And the comments aren't always flattering. We go read some of the comments, but a lot of people are like, hey, man, I used to follow you. You seem kind of methed out now. Like, it's pretty crazy. Hope you get help, blah, blah, blah. But then there's always some people are like, thanks for exposing the secret Illuminati behind ruling the world, blah, all this crazy stuff.
100%. But what was it? We can't just say, oh, it's just internet. No, it's something. Because the internet can be used for good, too. It's also a tool for doing free speech. But see, that's the thing. Just because sticks, stones, and words not only break motherfuckers' bones, break their...
Your worst cousin?
No, sir. There's something behind it.
That's funny.
But also, on the flip side of things, I've also sat back before. I've been like...
I will say this. I kind of like that he was like this... Oh, shit. I didn't mean to do that. I kind of like that he was this success story, right? He made it on his own, didn't need a record label, took his friends with him. Now he's ran all his friends off. But hell, he went to have an actual meeting with a record label, and on the way home, tore up the contract, right? Didn't sign it, tore up the contract. He's from Tennessee, made it on his own. He started out doing YouTube, like comedy skits, and moved it over to like this. He does rock and rap and country rap and all kinds of stuff now. And it may not be like my cup of tea, right? But a lot of people like him. And it just went downhill the last few years. Like with most people that have lost their fucking mind, it was through COVID. Everybody lost their fucking mind in COVID. I don't know what happened. It broke people.
I don't even fucking know. It just don't fucking work. And I know people say that to like cover up their actual feelings and shit, but you can also tell when a motherfucker's being genuine. And the wildest part of it is this, to me anyways. Even the people near me who have left my friend group, they're like, bro, everyone's saying this about you, everyone's saying this. For instance, last week I had somebody, I'm not saying anything, come to me and was like, bro, man, everybody's coming to me asking why you're crazy. I'm like, crazy how? You know, like just like this.
I don't even know if it's meth. He's admitted that he loves to take Adderall in the studio. And I know a bunch of streamers and YouTubers that are big fucking names, like hundreds of thousands of subscribers and bigger, that 100% I've talked to them, they just take Adderall when they're making content. But I think there's a fine line between like doing that to work, get some stuff knocked out and going, and just eating as much of it as you can all the time.
The stuff you say, I'm like, okay, like what? The stuff on your YouTube. Okay, like what? Nobody has a fucking answer. I will literally, I've done this. Like I did like last week. Opened up my YouTube quick videos and was like, here, show me what you're talking about. It is so fucking crazy. Not one of these people ever.
He just came out with a video a while back that said the reason people called him out and turned on him was because he was the first guy to figure out that aliens and child traffickers use the same language. So when they're talking about an abduction, they're not talking about an alien from another planet. They're talking about taking kids. And there was this Congress hearing that had the word black magic or no, it was a transgender witch. Ted Cruz said that your pilot could be a transgender witch, and he associated that with a CIA document, and he's the one who figured that out, that aliens are not people from outer space. They're actually pedophiles, and the government wants to protect those people. And he honestly thinks they're using what you would call an alien spaceship. He thinks that pedophile people are driving that to abduct people, to get rid of them, to abduct kids, to sexually assault people. Like, humans are driving what they would call an alien spaceship. It's really man-made by the military for the pedophiles.
To tell me why. At all. And then when they're like, well, I don't know, man. It's something someone said. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, it's something someone else said about me. Okay, who was it? And then they'll tell me, I'm like, who in the fuck is that? Who is that? Like, you know the dude who yada, 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 yada? I'm like, no. They're like, yeah, he drives a whatever. And I'm like, no. And then I'll be like, have I ever hung out with him? They're like, no.
He also, one of the things he does that pisses me off is like he acts like he's too good for the internet. Like, I'm off the internet. I go to farmers markets. I pick blackberries. I'm not on here. But then this motherfucker uploads 200 goddamn times a day, and saying everybody else is fucked up because we use the internet too much.
Okay, and then at that point, I'm just like, all right, This person doesn't realize that something is fucking wrong with them, right? Now someone...
I'm going to skip ahead some.
Why am I supposed to think? Why am I supposed to hold highly what a mysterious invisible person says? You're not. If you do that, something is wrong with you, fucking period. Fucking period. Like my cousin's buddy, fucking, I don't know his fucking real name, they call him Hammer.
Coming from his cousin, we know that he has a group of his supporters that all claim to be like fucking military, CIA, secret, law enforcement, SWAT teams. They all claim that they used to do that. And they can find anybody or track anybody or chase people down on the internet. He's got a guy that runs tags for him. And they have meetings in Ryan's basement and talk about what's going on and how people are trying to set him up and how there's an assassination attempt and the posts they're making and what they really mean when they make these posts.
Hammer. So he ran his mouth like all last week, and finally, my cousin's like, "Can I come talk to you?" I was like, "Yeah." So he comes to the house, and there's a guy in the truck, and I'm like, "Who's in the truck?" He's like, "Hammer." I'm like, "Okay, tell Hammer get the fuck out of the truck," since he wants to run his fucking mouth. And keep in mind, this dude's like fucking 4 times my size, right? Hammer don't do a fucking goddamn thing, okay, at all. I took my shoes off. I took every fucking thing off.
He's talking about his cousin right now, not Hammer, but his cousin is one driving the truck. His name is Billy Wayne, is what he goes by on Instagram, but his name is Billy.
Bro, just a fair fight, one-on-one. He would not do it. He fucking refused. And he's like, "Bro, you know me." I'm like, "No, the fuck I don't. What is your real fucking name?" I said, I don't even know your real name. I said, "I don't know what you do for a living. I don't know your middle name. I don't know where you live." He said, "Well, you never asked." Motherfucker, if I knew you, then those would be names that I know. Once again, something's wrong with you. And I'm one of them people, I just look at stuff and I just want to know how it happened, right? I'm a history guru. So
he got rid of his cousin that's been part of his team ever since he started doing this, and his best friend last week, Deerdorf, that they've been friends since they were like old enough to walk, right? They grew up beside each other, went to school together, been best friends, got rid of him, and started spreading all kinds of shit about him on the internet.
Comes natural. But with humans, like, I've met so many people over the years, right? Doing shows and stuff like that. A lot of meet and greets. And I've gotten to know a lot of different kind of people and hear a lot of different stories about their life and stuff. So human behavior is something I'm interested in. So I'm not beating a dead horse. I'm trying to fucking figure out what's wrong with the fucking fainted horse, in a sense. So that's why I talk about it. Because I know a lot of y'all out there, y'all have y'all's own theories about society and stuff. And a lot of y'all are smart. So I like sharing ideas. If that's crazy to anyone, then you don't know anything about America. I shit you not, bro.
Here's where the Johnny Gobble clip gets a lot of traffic.
Gobble just knocked out one of Adam's homeboys and smacked the fuck out of Triple T in the parking lot. Hell fucking yeah. Get him, Johnny.
Tim, don't you jump in!
Warms my heart. Johnny, you win the internet tonight. Phew. Oh, Triple T and his gangster friend. I bet that truck ride is pretty fucking quiet right now. Yeah, it's probably quiet as fuck. Little orange street lights going by. Triple T fuck.
Oh, apparently the Triple T guy's a rapper too. I just saw his video pop up. He's some type of rapper as well. Everybody's fucking rappers nowadays.
But Johnny smacked the fuck out of me, but it wasn't that hard. Dude's got a fucking black eye over here. He's like, "Yeah, man, I was dodging, but I dodged the wrong way." And you want to listen to the radio? Triple T hooks his phone up. It starts playing fight music by Adam Calhoun. The other guy starts looking like Triple T. Like, "Yeah, no, let's not listen to the radio. Let's just try it."
Hey, listen, hey, listen. I done that for you, Rhino Church. I done that for you. I smacked him one time for you, one time for his mom, and one time for me, and I just knocked the other guy out just to be done.
I appreciate that, Johnny. You know what Dick deserves. Ow, ow, ow! John Gobby Wasabi in the building, motherfucker.
So there you go. There's all the traffic from that. I know a lot of people aren't even interested in Rhino Church stuff, but I just think it's interesting for the drama. This Triple T guy, is he some type of veteran? Look at this. One of his thumbnails is 4 purple hearts. See this thumbnail here? I can't hover over it or it'll start playing. See this thumbnail here? That's a weird thumbnail, huh? Here he is rapping, I guess. Hold on.
Out there, I got a lot on my mind, so how do that little
or maybe these are other people. I don't know who these people are, to be honest with you.
it's like that you with my dick and this whip is getting crowded. About that, I got a lot on my mind. This only you for different, but I just don't get the drink.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm sorry. They all believe in tunnel babies.
Bones in your body are below your ankles.
What?
Of course that's not true. 75% of the bones in your body, like, okay, I'm no bone scientist. Right? I'm no bonologist. That can't be true. Just guessing. That can't be true.
I've seen a lot of people counter for this guy, but we got to be careful.
There's like 200 bones in your body, and there's like, what, like 30 in your foot?
Is saying to Joe Rogan, 75% of the bones in your body are below your ankles. And I think we can assume that he means including the ankles. So anything below the tib fib. If it was below the ankles, that would just be the foot bones. That's ridiculous. That's definitely not the case. But now we know that 75% of the bones in our bodies, like you and me, aren't below the ankle. But he's not talking to us. He's talking to Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan is an unusual man. And so maybe 75% of the bones in Joe Rogan's body are below his ankles. Like maybe he has a lot of feet. Maybe there's not just the two. I haven't looked. Maybe a lot of the bones in his upper bodies have been fused together into one single bone. That would be surprising, but this is...
AI says, the claim that 75% of the bones in the human body are located below the ankles is incorrect. While the feet do contain a significant number of bones, they account for about a quarter of the total bones. Each foot has 26 bones, totaling 52 bones in total, out of the 206 bones in the entire body.
Joe Rogan's body we're talking about. It's not our bodies. I don't know what Joe's situation is.
75% of the bones in your body are below your ankles.
Maybe he's one giant foot. That would make kind of sense. He kind of looks like a big toe. So you never know. All right. Got something for you. Remember how we were talking about the NAR, New Apostolic Reformation Church? The 7 mountains and the things that they need to control and how it's cult-like? It's worse than that with the shooter from Minnesota.
And when I learned that Vance Bolter had been involved with a front group or an extension group of Branham, we got on a video, posted it, and then you left a comment, hey, I knew this guy.
September of 1985 at St. Cloud State University, we were both freshmen. He and I used to walk to baseball practice every night. He was a really nice, easygoing guy.
Before we get into his, it says Vance Bolter was recruited by the Branham cult in 1985. I interviewed a college floor mate, Jeff Petrica, to tell a story about how he watched his baseball friend radicalized by a cult. He said Vance was just like a regular guy, funny, great at baseball, hanging out. Then one day, he was told to sell all of his baseball equipment and was all in on Jesus. But this is not biblical Jesus. He is not a Christian conservative. He was recruited into Branham front group cults. Watch more of Jeff's details on how Vance changed into a zombie. Now, this guy on the bottom, I've seen his stuff before. He was also pulled into this cult. And one of the things is they ask you what you care about most. Like, what's your favorite passion, or what do you spend the most time doing? So, like, baseball. Or this guy, I think, did, like, poetry or some type of art. They made him sell all of his art shit to join the cults. So he sells his baseball bat. Check this out.
Really funny. Just remember back 1985 at St. Cloud State University. We were both freshmen. He and I used to walk to baseball practice every night. He was a really nice, easygoing guy. Really funny. Just an ordinary 18-year-old. Vance, he came to my room one night and we were supposed to be going to baseball practice that night, and he said that he was quitting the team, said he wanted to sell me his baseball bat.
Red flag, right? You playing baseball in college, and you come on a night you're supposed to be going to practice later, and you're like, hey, I'm quitting baseball, I'll sell you my bat super cheap.
And I said, sure, I'd buy it. And he sold, whatever I had. I think it was $5 for a $200 bat at the time, and he went on to say that he met some people and that he was going to move off campus at the end of the quarter. And he was told by these people that he had to sell everything and quit the team. And he explained he was all in for Jesus now. And at just kind of progressed. I want to say daily, like into he became more of a zombie.
I can fly in here.
I want to say after that.
It's a standard, religious cult practice. I was asked to throw out my poetry because that was my
poetry
thing. He had baseball, but I had writing, poetry. And Branham was kind of the beginning of the whole Pentecostal latter rain movement that morphed into the New Apostolic Reformation, and how it differs.
There it is. The New Apostolic Reformation.
That morphed into the New Apostolic.
That's the 7 mountains, the 7 sectors that they have to control for Jesus to come back. One of them including the government. Another including the media, business. New Apostolic Reformation, contemporary movement of networks of ministries led by what they contend are modern-day apostles. NAR largely comprises churches nominally or formally associated with Pentecostal denominations and charismatic movements.
Reformation, and how it differs from legitimate mainstream Christianity is there self-professed prophets or apostles who say.
So he was deep into these movements, right? These crazy far-right extremist movements.
I speak to God.
Religious movements.
And God told me Trump won the 2020 election. And if you listen to anything else, it's demons. The Democrats are demons.
And again, just like the Daybells or whatever their name was, they classify anybody that disagrees with them as demons, especially Democrats. And they know that there's a good chance that they'll have to kill these people to bring about the return of Jesus. Like, I know when you wrap them when the people are brown and you wrap them in some type of headdress, people fucking freak out. And they're like, we got to stop this crazy religion. They're going to kill us all. But when they're white Christians that believe almost the exact same fucking thing, nothing.
But the media is incorrectly labeling him as a Christian conservative, an avid Trump supporter. And it came to my attention that, hey, there's a Branham connection here. So I reached out to my friend and colleague, John Collins, who's a 3rd-generation survivor of the William Branham message.
I would like to watch all of this. Does this guy have a YouTube channel?
The shooter and his link to William Branham, in my opinion, pseudo-Christian mind control authoritarian cult. So I'm grateful to you for your knowledge, your research, your willingness to help people around the world. And so let's get into talking about William Branham and Christ for the Nations. But the media is incorrectly labeling him as a Christian conservative, an avid Trump supporter. And it came to my attention.
Hold on, let me see if I can find a full video about this. Cult expert, Dr. Stephen Hassan. It looks, maybe. I see some shorts. Let's see if we can find. Yes. A 30-minute video. Oh, wait. There's 2 of them. Exposing the cult ties. Let's check this out, chat. I think this will be interesting. I love talking about cult shit. Check out the cult expert, Dr. Stephen Hassan, over on YouTube. Posted 3 days ago.
Dr. Stephen Hassan and
Hassan. I'm sorry.
Podcast called Cult Conversations, the Influence Continuum with Dr. Steve Hassan. But with the recent shooting of a top Democratic strategist and legislator and her husband and 2 others who I believe are going to survive, critically injured by this shooter. But the media is incorrectly labeling him as a Christian conservative, an avid Trump supporter. And it came to my attention from one of my people who's worked with me, hey, there's a Branham.
It's called the 7 Mountain Mandate is what they believe in. I was saying it wrong earlier. So they think before Jesus can come back that they have to have some type of dominance. The central idea is that God has given Christians a mandate to permeate and transform these 7 mountains of society or spheres of society with Christian principles. The 7 phrases, we went over this before, the 7 are religion, family, education, government, media, arts and entertainment, and business. And that he cannot return until these things have been done. This is the ultimate goal, according to proponents, is to create a society that reflects Christian values as to hasten the arrival of the kingdom of God on earth and Jesus' return. Okay? It's pretty crazy. It's pretty out there, but there's a lot of people that believe this. New Apostolic Reformation.
connection here. So I reached out to my friend and colleague John Collins, who's a third-generation survivor of the William Branham message cult. And I said, John, did you hear about the shooter and his link to William Branham? And your website is the best thing that's ever been created to understand the roots of this, in my opinion, pseudo-Christian mind control authoritarian cult. So I'm grateful to you for your knowledge, your research, your willingness to help people around the world. And so let's get into talking about William Branham and Christ for the Nations.
Well, first of all, Steve, thank you for reaching out to me, and especially thank you for sharing this information. I've been studying what's happening with the news as it relates to the New Apostolic Reformation, because Bowler was clearly involved with the New Apostolic Reformation, but I had not yet made all of the connections until you and I started talking, that it's connected all the way directly back to Branhamism. As you said, my family was a big part of this. My grandfather was the head pastor at William Branham's church in Jeffersonville for
holy shit.
So we have thorough connections to it. We did not know the level of complexity that grew after Branhamism because we were very sheltered as a cult. But after my family escaped and I started researching, I started to realize that many cult foundations were built upon this thing that Branham created. And it all began with the Latter Rain movement, which you and I have somewhat discussed. But as we'll get into here in a few minutes, the connections between this and the cult all flow through exactly what you described, this Christ for the Nations Institute. So I'm very excited to talk through this with you.
Yeah, and let me just say that the media doesn't like using the cult word, and my book, The Cult of Trump, has largely been blacklisted behind the scenes. So even though I used to be on all the major media, newspapers and TV and cable, I haven't. But I wanted to say we're talking about authoritarian cultism and my model that looks at behavior control. And
Christ for the Nations Institute is a or I guess all denomination Bible college in Dallas that is based on the charismatic style preacher, right?
Information control, thought control, and emotional control. And you did an analysis of Branhamism with these 4 components. You linked it to Jim Jones, and you and I did a piece for the Jim Jones website. And you mentioned New Apostolic Reformation, which I named in The Cult of Trump as the majority of Trump's base. And these are people who say, I'm a prophet and I talk to God, I get messages, or I'm an apostle and I talk to God. And God told me Trump won the 2020 election. And because their members are so programmed with phobias of Satan and demons, they believe, and their leaders tell them Trump is God.
By the way, guys, consider supporting the show at coldbeer.fund. We greatly appreciate it. Hopefully my VA stuff works its way through the system this month or maybe next month. But until then, if you want to help us pay the bills, you can do that at coldbeer.fund. We greatly appreciate it.
God's man, even though he's a sinner, he's like King Cyrus, we need to follow him. And what you and I are trying to do is say, wait a minute, before you accept some human saying they're speaking to God, let's look at the roots of this, and they are fraudulent. There's so much deception and mind control that's being used here, affecting people around the world.
Well, Steve, thank you so much for reaching out and sharing the information that you had, because as we're starting to piece it together, like I said, this has a connection directly back to Branhamism. And through the podcast that we've been sharing with many of the other people, Charles and I are going through the revival history, which builds the background to most of what we're going to be talking about here in a few minutes. We've also been working with people who have came out of the IHOP KC, the International House of Prayer in Kansas City, escapees from this movement, which are in the...
Oh, I guess it goes without saying that the NAR, the New Apostolic Reformation groups, are a very white group. Like, very white group.
Apostolic Reformation, had no idea that they were directly descended from this Branhamism, but they were. And as we're starting to piece all of these little bits of information that we're extracting from all the people, combining it into organized research, we start to realize the thing that was created by this movement, not only is it dangerous from a cult perspective and hijacking somebody's mind, in cases like we're seeing here, it can actually radicalize somebody to the point where there's actually physical harm. So very excited to get into this with you, just to go through it so that people understand, because the news media is labeling this as a conservative Christian shooter. They want to brand it as though Christianity is the problem here, but it's not really that. So very excited to talk through with you and discuss that what they're describing is much different from the conservative Christians. This is actually a cult.
Yeah, and I just want to share that I got interested in the whole subject because I got radicalized in the Moonies cult in 1974 when I was 19 and a college student, and I had a radical personality change, and I would have killed on command. Or
they pick up a lot of kids in college, right? They're away from home for the first time, a lot of them. It's hard making friends. They feel like outsiders. They feel alone, separated. And all you got to do is kind of be nice to them. And you can convince them to do almost anything.
Died on command without hesitation because I wasn't thinking for myself. I had a pseudo identity that had hacked the real Steve Hassan. And if it wasn't for a near fatal van crash and a voluntary deprogramming where I
Atsuko's part of the Moonies.
learned about Chinese communist brainwashing techniques that I emerged going, how could I believe Moon was the Messiah and 10 times greater than Jesus? I was raised a Jew, and I didn't even believe in Jesus. And so I understand from the inside, unlike you who were born in it, I was radicalized at 19. And
She calls it the Family Federation for World Peace and Unification, but still, she's Atsuko Zamuni.
Following mind control research and helping people for 49 years. And so when I wrote The Cult of Trump for Simon & Schuster, I was in the room with Moon when he said, we're going to infiltrate the government, and God hates democracy. We're going to install a theocracy. And when we take power, we'll amend the Constitution and make it a capital offense for people who don't follow our rules. And I thought it was a great idea because I was sleeping 3 to 4 hours a night. I had phobias in my mind that demons were possessing me if I had a doubt or a hesitation. So I was so petrified about demons that I would just do whatever Moon or his leaders told me.
I can relate to some extent. We weren't radicalized to the point of physical violence, but we were manipulated and programmed such that no matter what the leader said, if we were told that it was some mandate by God, we would have done it. There are people around the world who are in this Branhamism movement or its many splinter groups, and they will go out and inflict physical harm. But anyway, let's talk through a bit of the history behind this. You and I have had many conversations over the years. I actually have new information that I don't think that I've shared with you yet concerning all of the background to this, and it directly relates to the shooter. So in my research, whenever I was working first with you, I began to discover that William Branham was mentored by one of the key figures in the Ku Klux Klan. His name
You wrote
Roy
a book
E.
about
Davis.
it, if I remember, John.
Absolutely. My first book, Preacher Behind the White Hoods, talks about this, right? What I did, there were many pieces of this that I did not realize. And what I came to know after the research that I've combined with other people, I wrote another book, which I don't know if you've read this one or not. It's called Weaponized Religion from Christian Identity to the New Apostolic Reformation, the NAR. Here is some of the information that I have not yet shared with you, and it is directly related to this. So whenever Roy Davis, who was the second in command of the Klan, mentored William Branham, they were starting a religious cult, and they started it here in Jeffersonville. It became my grandfather's church, but it was also more of a political cult than it was a religious cult. They were wanting to change politics, and the purpose of the change was for this movement called Christian Identity. This movement, you're very familiar with it, but for anybody who isn't, Christian Identity was a direct descendant of British Israelism, wherein people who were in this mindset believed that the British Isles, and by extension the Americas, were descended from the 12 tribes of...
Oh my God. You want to hear the greatest song that explains the way that Christians feel, how they hide behind their religion. Hold on, let me just grab it. While we're watching this, here's a palate cleanser, I guess. I think I sent it to Mariah earlier. Jesse Wells is like a fucking the modern day William Shakespeare, dude. It's insane. Let me just go to his page. Jesse Wells has some really good music if you never listened to it. It's almost like a protest music, maybe. It's definitely about contemporary issues and shit. You guys know I wish the best for you. Thank you very much, Jaybird. So one of my favorite songs of his is called War is a Murder. He performs it fucking everywhere. But this one he just came out with is called The Great Caucasian God. Listen to this. And it sounds like, if you listen to the rhythm of it, it sounds like it's set to like a hymn that you would sing in church.
Upon a missile rode the Lord, roaring justice is the sword. He was melting off the faces of the damned. You have heard of Noah's flood, that tale will pale against the blood, pouring out and boiling in uranium sands. Don't you know atomic power is just God's celestial shower? There are those that he has chosen and those that he has not. There are many who will die in the Lord's plan by and by, but it won't be you or I, thanks to the great Caucasian God. I said, Lord, be thou near, blot out everything that's strange to me, everything that's queer. I said, Lord, don't be far, I am in need of a friend indeed, the great Caucasian God.
That's a pretty good song, right? For like white Christians saying, oh, God says, like fucking Ted Cruz saying, I learned in Sunday school that we got to protect Israel. So your religion is guiding our foreign policy? I don't give a fuck what happens to Israel. But anyways, this is his famous song, War Isn't Murder. This might get a copyright, but we'll listen to it anyways. It's pretty good.
War isn't murder, good men don't die, children don't starve, and all the women survive. War isn't murder, that's what they say when you're fighting the devil. Murder's okay. War isn't murder, they're called casualties. There ain't a veteran with a good night's sleep. Let's talk about dead people. I mean a dead people. The dead don't feel honor, they don't feel that brave, they don't feel avenged, they're lucky if they got graves. Call your dead mother, ask her when she died. It's a deathly silence on the other line. The dead don't talk, but their kids don't forget. So in 20 short years you could live to regret that. War isn't murder, there's money at stake. Hell, even Kushner agrees it's good for real estate. War isn't murder, it's an old desert faith. It's a nation state sanctioned righteous hate. Let's talk about dead people. I mean a dead people. War isn't murder, it's the vengeance of God. If you can't see the bodies, they don't blow when they rot. And the flies don't swarm and the children don't cry. If war isn't murder and good men don't die. So in a short 20 years when you vacation the strip, don't think about the dead and have a nice trip. War isn't murder.
That's pretty good. He's a pretty good musician. Jesse Wells, if you want to check him out on social media. Anyways, back to this.
Of the 10 lost tribes of Israel. This developed into a racially charged doctrine wherein they believed that people with black skin were the enemy, and this turned into a big mess. Well, these Christian identity conferences were held all throughout Canada, all throughout the United States. Many major figures in the Pentecostal movement and its offshoots were believers of this doctrine. I'll just say it like that. And you can go back and you can read either my book or you can listen to the podcast and you can hear some of that history.
And I mean, I just add, this is the Ham doctrine is involved with the racial stuff back to, because the Moonies were teaching that too, that the black people are Ham and therefore they're not blessed like white and others are.
Absolutely. One of the key elements of Christian identity is that in the biblical Garden of Eden, Eve mated with the serpent and that produced Cain. His offspring were all black-skinned. And then when it came to the Great Flood, it continued through the lineage of Ham. That was the doctrine.
There you go.
Fast forward just a bit. You have all of this Christian identity mess, which is very politicized in the era. Well, one of the key figures who is speaking...
That was the curse of Ham, was a biblical justification for black people not being the children of God and not being blessed by God and slavery and discrimination and all kinds of shit.
In identity conferences was a man named Gordon Lindsay. He was one of William Branham's campaign managers. He helped lay the foundation that developed into the New Apostolic Reformation. He created a system wherein you could create new apostles and prophets, and they were all advertised in this magazine that was called The Voice of Healing, which this was William Branham's magazine initially. Branham started it as I think he called it an inter-evangelical magazine of the Branham campaigns. Gordon Lindsay came in, took it over, and he basically created a pyramid scheme out of this, where he and Branham were at the top, and then all of these evangelists joined into it. Through this magazine, they were able to promote this doctrine, and many of the key themes that we see in Christian identity, except for the racist ones, they did withhold those. Many of the key doctrinal themes made it into this magazine, while Gordon Lindsay himself is speaking at Christian identity conferences. So if you look at the NAR today, how dangerously politicized it is, this was the equivalent of the NAR back during the era in which this was going on. Well, Gordon Lindsay, over time, as Branham grew too much larger than the magazine could hold through his revivals, Gordon Lindsay started focusing on creating a network wherein he could train other individuals. This eventually became Christ for the Nations Institute. And he shared with me, Christ for the Nations Institute is the institute that trained Vance Bolter.
Yes, and just to...
The same institute that he went to become a pastor.
Add another detail to connect it to Trump, because this guy was a big Trump supporter. Paula White Cain, who's Trump's spiritual advisor, who got all these NAR people to back Trump, is the White House spiritual advisor, and she claims to be a prophet and speak to God and send her money because she needs more money. But the key is the connection is NAR and this, you know, these 30 to 40 million people in the United States who are identified with these mega churches of New Apostolic Reformation.
So after you understand that history and you understand what was being created, William Branham and Gordon Lindsay were creating a network in which they could take different evangelical leaders, some of them claiming to be apostles, some of them claiming to be prophets, some institutions, ministers, etc. They created a network in which they could communicate with each other and share doctrinal positions with each other. And then this developed into actually what we see in the New Apostolic Reformation, where they have these apostolic networks. So all of this foundation was laid to enable the New Apostolic Reformation to flourish. Before William Branham died, he and Gordon Lindsay started holding these seminars, teaching people how to, they called it deliverance seminars, how to cast out demons, essentially. And I've got in my room, I'll have to share this with you sometime, I've got a book from one of these deliverance ministers talking about how the demon of hiccups can be cured if you do X, Y, and Z, or the cataracts. If you have the demon of cataracts, you can do this. Well, this is the kind of thing that was being taught. And so everybody who joined into this network could get a certificate as a quote-unquote deliverance minister, then go all throughout the networks casting out demons and wowing the crowds. Those deliverance seminars is what actually developed into the Christ for the Nations Institute.
So again, we go back to the murder of a Democratic lawmaker by allegedly Vance Bolter because he believed he was doing God's will and they were baby killers, and because he believed Trump was God's person on earth. I'd like to say that for the media, they really need to do responsible reporting and not just say talking points like Christian conservatives, but be...
Oh, no, he's a crazy Democrat appointed by Tim Walz himself.
To start understanding the difference between mainline Christianity that emphasizes Jesus's teachings, and I might add, the Pope's messaging and Pope Francis's messaging is closer to what the prosperity ministers and the NAR and the Branhamites are doing.
Gentlemen, let's start by...
To understand how minds can be radicalized and people move to violence because of violent rhetoric. So it's called stochastic violence, I believe. It's like talking about violence. And we don't want more political violence. So if we really want to de-escalate what the bad actors who want to bring America to civil war are doing, we really need to name what's ethical, love-based, honesty, transparent, accountable versus deception, dogma, phobias, hate speech. And we all are human beings on the same planet and we need to live together.
Well, Steve, I take strong offense to the way that media has branded this thing. They're saying that this is conservative Christianity. And therefore, by extension, if you follow that out to its logical conclusion, every single person who is a conservative Christian could be a potential shooter. I don't see that. That is not what this is. This is a person who has been radicalized. I was in a movement that radicalized people and that manipulated their minds in such a way.
He's talking about stochastic terrorism, I guess would be a better term for it. That's when you use like weird, vague, coded language about how horrible a group is, right? It might be Mexicans or white people or black people, whatever, right? It's this indirect, coded dog whistle language about how they're destroying, like when Trump says they're destroying the bloodline of the country or whatever. And that incites people to commit violent acts thinking they're stopping whatever you're insinuating about the group.
But they could do something like this if you told them to. I came out of this, you came out.
But then the people that did it can say, I never said to go attack somebody. I just said they were destroying the bloodline of our nation. Right.
This is much different. What would you say to explain to people who are looking at this news that this is not conservative Christianity? This is something different. What would you say?
Yeah, so I would just say that conservative Christians love Jesus and they follow the Bible, and they know the Bible says don't follow false prophets, and you can tell a prophet but whether or not the prophecy doesn't come true, and so many have not come true, and that people need to understand my influence continuum from ethical influence to...
So we've got this one down. I want to see he's got more about, this is the guy that, this one's not a song. This is the guy that went to school with him. This is the one I want to say as well.
Ordinary person at that time. And then about 2 to 3 weeks later, Vance, he came to my room one night and we were supposed to be going to baseball practice that night.
His roommate or one of his friends from college, not his roommate.
He said that he was quitting the team. He went on to say that he met some people and he was told by these people that he had to sell everything and quit the team. And he explained he was all in for Jesus.
100% when he says demons and stuff like that. He is talking, he's getting that from his faith leader or whatever. That crazy bitch is a psychopath.
Now, and it just kind of progressed. He became more of a zombie by the day.
Hi, I'm Dr. Steve Hassan, and I'm here with Jeff Petrika, who I just met yesterday on the phone. And Jeff, you responded to a video that I did with John Collins, who's a third generation William Branham cult follower / expert, who has just an amazing library of information because he was deconstructing his whole growing up and belief system and writing books about it. And when I learned that Vance Bolter had been involved with a friend group or an extension group of Branham, we got on the video, posted it, and then you left a comment, hey, I knew this guy in 1985 when we were college students, and you know, he was a nice guy. He was funny. He, you know, we used to walk to baseball practice. So I'm going to just ask you to reconstruct our conversation of like, where were you? When did you meet Vance? And tell us a little bit about that, please.
Well, the first thing you should know, his last name is, it looks like it's supposed to be Bolter, but he pronounces it Belter. Like belt.
Belter.
Belter. Yep, that's how it's pronounced.
Thank you for that correction, because I've been saying it wrong.
Well, not only you, but the media at large is too. So
okay, well, that's the first.
You can't blame him because that's the way it looks to be pronounced, but he pronounces it Belter. So.
Thank you for that.
But I met Vance in 1985, would be September of 1985 at St. Cloud State University. We were both freshmen. He was on the same floor with me, 7th floor, Holtz Hall.
So that was like a dormitory?
Dormitory on campus, yep. Yep. So his room was right down from mine. And you met everybody on the floor, and Vance was one of them. And we both learned that we were going to try out for the baseball team. So he and I used to walk to baseball practice every night. And I went to lunch with him, and we, went to different classes that we may have had in common and that type of thing around campus. But he was a really nice, easygoing guy, really funny, just an ordinary 18-year-old guy.
Yeah, away from home probably for the first time.
We were all away from home, so we were all making friends, and it was a new experience for all of us. So, but he was just an ordinary person at that time. And then I want to say it was around 2 to 3 weeks later into our freshman year, and this is highly impressionable because of that first experience away from home, and you're getting to know these people. Vance, he came to my room one night, and we were supposed to be going to baseball practice that night, and he said that he was quitting the team, which was odd, and I asked him why at first, and he didn't really want to tell me at first, but he said he wanted to sell me his baseball bat, and I said, sure, I'd buy it. And he sold, whatever I had. I think it was $5 for a $200 bat at the time, and in today's money, it would probably be worth, about $800. But anyway, he went on to say that he met some people, and that he was going to move off campus at the end of the quarter, and he was told by these people that he had to sell everything and quit the team, and I was kind of confused at first, and he explained he was all in for Jesus now.
Mm-hmm.
These people told him, this is what he had to do. And it just kind of progressed, I want to say daily, like into, he became more of a zombie by the day, I want to say, after that. And he just was like a radical change in him.
Right. I want to just clarify, because we talked last night. Mm-hmm. Yeah, last night you said he was a really good baseball player.
Yeah, he was really good. He had an excellent chance to make the team. And all we did was, talk about what 18-year-olds talk at the time. We talked baseball, we talked girls, we talked, school, that type of thing, parties. I don't know if I can't recall any parties that I went to him with, but, he was just one of the guys.
One of the guys. So my recollection from last night was you said that it was 3 months before he dropped out of school and moved out. Okay.
Yeah, he moved out in November of that year, but he had his roommate from the same town. His name was Bob Schumacher. Mm-hmm. And so Vance told me he was moving out at the end of November. And so he had an open spot in that room, and I asked if I could have it, and I moved in with his roommate actually at the end of November. But from about, I want to say, the whole month of October through I want to say the 3rd week of November of that year, that's the quarter.
Right.
That's when he went through. He was just a different person at that point. He was just a radical religious zealot all of a sudden, and he would not listen to anybody. We were all heathens to him all of a sudden. So it was kind of odd and weird,
I bet.
That point of being just one of the guys going to baseball with him, and, good player, and excellent chance to make the team, and just going to this.
That's insane, right? That somebody can have that radical of a change in that quick a time. Like to go from just being completely fucking normal to like a radical religious zealot within 3 months.
Religious zealot. And, I thought at the time, I profess faith in Jesus too, but he had none of that. He was.
And last night you said he even said you were going to go to hell.
Yes, he told the whole floor, basically, we were all going to hell.
And you said last night you're a Catholic, but
at that time I was Catholic. Yes, and that had nothing to do with his sect that he was involved with. But the only way to heaven was through that sect, I guess. But he never, going back to that time, and now that I'm a Christian, he never shared the gospel. He never asked me or other people on the floor to join him. Like, come to one of our dinners, because he was going to these dinners every night with these people off campus.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't tell us who they were. It was just they were part of his newfound faith, but he never asked us to go.
Right. So as far as you know, he never used the name of the group.
No, he never used the name. So that's how I stumbled upon you guys, because I just had this speculation he joined a cult, just the way he was, and just that radical transformation where physically he would stare right through you, all this, and just like a zombie, like this.
anything you said would bounce right off of him. And you couldn't convince him of anything else other than what, he was always right about everything, and argumentative, very argumentative. And after that point, in November, so I moved into his room with his old roommate from Sleepy Eye. They're both from Sleepy Eye, Minnesota. And I've never seen him again. He never came back to visit Bob. They were high school friends.
Right.
You'd think, just being freshmen, he'd come back and say, hey, how's it going? Or whatever. We never heard from him again. So I just assumed he dropped out, because in 3.5 years after that, I never ran into him. I never saw him at the lunch hall or the library or just going to class. I mean, it's not the biggest campus, so you think you'd run into him here and there. I never saw him again after that.
He claimed to have graduated there, so for researchers, we should look into whether or not he was just lying about.
Well, there's another clue to that. On the news here last night.
Well, he seems like he's lying about almost everything else in his resume.
He went to Christ for the Nation School in 1988 to 89. He graduated from there, I guess. Well, that time frame does not work, because in order, we started in 85. I graduated in 89. And he would have graduated about the same time.
Right.
So he couldn't have gone to both colleges. That Christ for the Nations was in Dallas, Texas.
Right. So I'll just say that one of my people, after the shooting, after the assassination happened, where he dressed up like a law enforcement official and had a car that looked like it was a police car, an unmarked car and such. But one of my people tracked down that old website where he said he was involved with Christ for the Nations, and I knew that to be connected to the William Branham cult, which is when I reached out to my friend John Collins, and he was like, oh yeah, I have a whole thing on my website about Christ for the Nations. So we did that video. And what I want to just say for our listeners, William Branham was a fraud, and he claimed to get messages from God, and they recorded them on tapes, and this group now has reported some 2 million people worldwide that are still believing that he was.
Yeah, I don't think even his best friends, like, he doesn't have a security company. He's the type of guy to put this all out there and pad it up and buy the vehicles and make his wife the COO and blah, 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 that he wanted to have a security company. He just hadn't got it started. He bought 2 cars at auction, security cars, and claimed that he was a security guard.
A legitimate prophet of God.
He even had a website already up that said they had like a package. Their gold tier package was like $2,100 a month for 3 transports and VIP security and blah, 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 some stupid shit.
Was prophesying, but he seems to have morphed into New Apostolic Reformation. So,
but the right wing has jumped all over. What type of Trump supporter has a security company with field offices in Israel and Zimbabwe and blah, blah, blah? Well, he's lying. So
he may have started there. And Branham was kind of the beginning of the whole Pentecostal latter rain movement that morphed into the New Apostolic Reformation. And how it differs from legitimate mainstream Christianity is there are self-professed prophets or apostles who say, I speak to God, and God told me Trump won the 2020 election, and if you listen to anything else, it's demons, the Democrats are demons and Satan, etc. So, but what I want to, challenge is the media has been saying he's just a conservative Christian who didn't like abortion, and just that isn't the real story.
No, and there are several biblical passages I looked up here in the last day where it says, "Vengeance is God's, not yours." So what and there's a specific one I wanted to read,
please,
from 1 Peter. It says, "Do not repay evil with evil or insult with insult, but with blessing, because of this you were called, so that you may inherit a blessing." So he says, do not pay evil with evil. And I mean, there's several biblical passages that says, do not take vengeance out on your, people that you think you're being persecuted by, or if he thought somehow these people were demons and whatnot, that's unbiblical what he did.
Of course it is.
Not. And,
yeah, exactly.
When they're talking about the latter rain movement, the latter rain movement was this like rejuvenation of the Pentecostal church, where there were former rains, which is like when Christ walked the earth, and before that, when they were all these prophets and disciples and people that spoke to God, and they received these gifts from God, and long life or, whatever, right? And the gifts of God rained down on them. And that's the former rain. The latter rain is like this post-World War II thing where they started teaching that this was God was doing all that again to them in the Pentecostal church, right? He was pouring out his gifts and salvation and speaking in tongues and monetary gifts and prophecy and all this shit, right, on top of them. And it had to be completed so the second coming of Christ could happen. Now, the New Apostolic Reformation is it starts in the latter rain movement, but is after the latter rain movement. It continues on.
going back to that time and, just thinking back at that interaction with him, and I told you this on the phone last night, is that, Christianity is where the gospel is the power unto salvation, not a group.
Or a person claiming to be a prophet or an apostle.
Or a prophet or a person. It's not that that's not Christianity. So it's the gospel, and he never shared that with me or anybody at that time. And then, to see him 40 years later, when I saw there was a Minnesota shooting, so I just went on the internet, I looked up his name. I mean, the name said Vance Belter, and I'm like, that can't be the same guy. I told you this on the phone last night. I mean, I would have expected him to be kind of like the, an activist, outspoken activist, like the Westboro Baptist nut jobs.
Who are blatantly homophobic and such.
Screaming obscenities to people outside abortion clinics and things like that. I would expect Vance to be like that, but not, a murderer. And I would probably say even before and after his transformation there, he'd been one of the least likely on the floor to commit this atrocity.
Yeah.
This horrible crime he committed. I would have said back then as an 18-year-old, no way Vance would, 40 years later, he'd have been the last person I would have picked.
Have you guys heard the really weird female cop story? That she was called to respond to a congressperson's house, or a state legislature person's house. And she was driving her car, and she went to pull up to their house, and like a block before she got to her house, she saw another cop car. And it was Vance Belter, I guess, sitting in his cop car. And she pulled up beside him and was trying to get his attention. And he just stared straight ahead. I don't know if he's wearing the mask or not. That he just stared straight ahead and never spoke to her. So she thought, that's weird. And then just kept driving, went to the house, checked on the people, and then by the time more officers arrived, he was gone. Like, I'm pretty sure I didn't dream that up. Hold on. That sounds even crazier now that I'm saying it out loud. Did I fucking make this up? Like, the cars did not say local police, right? They said something security. But she was convinced that he was another police officer. And she couldn't get his attention. Why didn't she do something else? Like, that just blows my mind. Somebody spotted him in a meadow. We got that. Keep watching this. I'll keep looking.
Right. Because he was so self-righteous and Pharisaic and legalistic, and he claimed to all of a sudden know the Bible. And if he knew the Bible, like I said, there's just several passages that says not to do what he did.
Right.
And there's another facet to this.
Please.
So this cult, I'm not going to call them a Christian cult. They're just a cult that he joined.
They're a cult that claim to speak for God using the Bible, but they're not.
We're using the guise of Christianity.
Right.
If it was Christianity, and your viewers should know this, a guy that says he's born again 40 years ago and he's going to follow Jesus, 40 years later, you become sanctified, which means that you grow in holiness, you grow as a Christian, and this whole like vengeance and revenge and all of that should have gone away a long, long time ago.
Absolutely.
So this was at the forefront with him. And when I saw a video of him dancing around like a chicken on a stage in Congo, I just said he hasn't changed since 1985, or it's gotten worse. One of the other. So
right.
The media, like you said, had it kind of wrong in the beginning, like, trying to pin him on this or that. I even heard that they said he was a devout Catholic, and he was not anywhere near a devout Catholic. So
there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation floating around online. So I just want to comment for a minute and just say his recruitment was stereotypical from
I wanted to ask you about that. That was a question I asked you last night. How does someone transform that quickly? Like from about 3 weeks, like I said, it was about 3 weeks.
Right.
And you kind of explain, I think your viewers would like to hear how that works, because you yourself were recruited about the same way. So
when people go away to college, they're especially vulnerable. They're trying to figure out their identity. What do they believe? How do they fit in the world? And I was recruited at 19, but there's often deceptive recruitment and love bombing and come over for dinner, and they pump you for information about yourself. And he got recruited pre-internet, so we can't say that the cult had looked him up and found out all of the details of knowing which buttons to push to recruit. But as a Moonie, I was taught how to identify hot buttons that would draw people to want to commit their lives to the group. And we thought Moon was 10 times greater than Jesus, that Jesus failed and should never have gone to the cross. We were told he was supposed to get married and have sinless children, and John the Baptist was supposed to be his first disciple, and all the Jews would march on Rome and take over Rome, and so the whole world would become God's. That was the Mooney BS theology. But the point is that people don't knowingly join a cult. They get deceived, they get befriended, and there's a systematic breaking down of who you are and then indoctrinating you into their point of view. And part of it is this black and white, us versus them, good versus evil mentality. We're the chosen, everyone else is demons and Satan, etc. And you have to die to your old life. And that's when you said they told him he has to give up baseball and drop out of school
and sell everything.
This is standard, religious cult practice. I was asked to throw out my poetry because that was my thing. He had baseball, but I had writing, poetry. They asked me to demonstrate my commitment to God, to throw out my poetry, and then isolate from family and friends. Don't talk to them because they're evil. And they probably said to him, "Don't try to recruit your friends. They're lost." Why? Because they were.
I don't get in trouble with your church at Sicko.
You might get him back into reality. So they didn't.
We tried. I had about a month. We a lot of us tried talking to him, and he wouldn't have anything of it.
Well, he would go back and report what was happening in the day, and they sized him up and they said, "You got to get out of there. Don't try to talk to them. They're lost. They're hopeless. They're doomed.
They're all hopeless.
Yeah, they're doomed." And as I said to you last night, and I've said in my books and such, I was so brainwashed that I would have taken a bullet if I was told to, or I would have killed if I was told to, because I didn't look at people outside the group as legitimate. If we couldn't bring them in to save them, they were toast. They did not have the right to exist. And Moon talked about infiltrating the U.S. government and how democracy is satanic and how a theocracy needs to be set up and how we would amend the Constitution and kill people, make it a capital offense if people violated our rules. And as a brainwashed Moonie, I thought this was a great idea. Mm-hmm. And once I got deprogrammed and learned about brainwashing, I was so ashamed, I was so embarrassed, but I was also so curious. How did they get me to believe this crap? And how did they get me to turn against my family and my friends and my country and my values?
You mentioned something last night too, which I think you should restate. Is I asked you, I said, just listening to his roommates' text messages that he sent saying that he made some bad choices and regretted, and you stated something to the effect that you don't lose your former self.
Right. That's my experience, is that when it's a different thing if you're born into a mind control cult, because you don't get a chance to grow and develop a sense of self that's independent. You still have an authentic self, but it's more undeveloped, but you still have a sense of right and wrong and good and evil and empathy and such. But what winds up happening is the pseudo self gets implanted on top of your real self and says, this is your true self, this is what God wants, but you're following humans, you're following what humans say. And one other point I want to make, if you don't mind, and that just is the danger when people believe that they can speak to God and get directions.
Right.
Because if they're raised and indoctrinated to believe that you can pray, and I used to pray over members as a Moonie, but it would be audible prayers, but the prayers wouldn't be just like, God bless us. It would be like telling God and telling the people what God wanted.
This is what God said.
This is what God wants for you to do. So it's really like hypnotic programming.
Exactly. Yes. And that's why, it's important for every Christian out there to know is that there's no extra revelation outside of his word. So no one's getting these messages. No one's getting something.
I cannot find that video now, this female cop that was like, yeah, I pulled up beside him. He just looked straight ahead like that. What the fuck?
Revelation out there. So, God told me this yesterday or whatnot. That's all garbage.
Yeah, especially people who say, God said, put money on your credit card to tithe to me and God will bless you tenfold.
Right.
And I need to buy a third airplane.
Yes, that's all garbage. So it's always important to go back to his word and discern. And I go back to the point that the gospel is a power unto salvation, not a person, not the person of Jesus Christ. That's the good news of the gospel. The gospel is the good news of Jesus. But if an organization or a person in your neighborhood says, that I'm the way to salvation, or we are the way, so join us. Right. Join our church. This is the only way you're going to go to heaven is if you join us. Well, that red flag should go straight up.
Especially if they say,
I did see he texted his wife and said, hey, I'm sorry for this, but there's going to be some men show up. armed, that are trigger happy, and I don't want you to be there. And that's why his wife was doing the fleeing shit.
Your family, your friends, drop out of your education.
And it's counterintuitive also, because as a Christian, your main task is to share the gospel. It's not your job to convert anybody. You're not going to convert anybody. It's God doing that work. So you sharing your job is only to share the gospel. And if they're not doing that, that red flag should go up.
Yeah, great point.
And that's what I saw, with him, going back 40 years. I mean, that basically we were, like you said, all heathens. We were all going to hell. He had nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
And if this was an actual Christian community that he joined, he'd be coming up to our floor every day, going to every member on our floor that he met and was friends with, including myself, and just sharing the gospel with us.
I want to say the title of the video was something like police were close to catching Vance before he disappeared or something like that.
Exactly.
And not,
but I cannot find it now.
Done with you guys. We're not going to, and there's nothing in God's word that says you need to quit the baseball team because you're
it's not satanic to play baseball.
Right.
And use your gifts.
And that's another point too. I mean, if he were to join, this was an actual Christian community that he joined, he would join the baseball team and then maybe share the gospel to the guys on the team.
So
they would see how good a player he was, and that would be his end to talk to him. It's not this whole distancing. We're going to go to dinner. We are Christians and we're not going to talk to anybody else but our community, that type of thing.
Thank you, Jeff, so much. We're going to be wrapping up now. I want to thank you, Jeff, for reaching out, watching our video, for doing this. And if there's anything that comes your way, other memories or connections.
And that's about it. Yeah, and I appreciate it, Steve. I was hesitant to even speak about this because it's kind of embarrassing, to know the guy 40 years ago like that. And then when I saw your podcast, though, and speaking about cults, and I always suspected that, it just confirmed everything I thought at that time. And that was 40 years ago. And then, and like you said, the media, there's all rush to judgment on this and rush to judgment on that. And a lot of it's wrong. Some of it's right. And just cutting through all of that. So, and I appreciate, what you're doing to help these people that are in these cults.
Thank you, Jeff.
So I really appreciate that work you're doing.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
It was such a weird video. That's a very good video. I'm glad they found somebody that knew him and how fucking crazy he was. Here's a video from Debunction Junction. I really like this channel. Debunking some of the right-wing stuff about it.
Conservative creators continue to try to twist themselves into a pretzel to turn the alleged Minnesota shooter into a Democrat, even though it's very clear he's a Trump-loving conservative. Their number one enemy continues to be this guy, David Carlson, who, even though he was described by news agencies over and over again as Vance Bolter's best friend since the 4th grade, they continue to refer to him like this.
That is the supposed roommate of this guy.
Seriously, your entire basis for saying that he's a Republican is that his neighbor said he was.
I'm sorry if I don't fully believe the Papa John's employee.
And I get why they're trying to do this, but what they're basically admitting is that if David Carlson truly is Vance Bolter's best friend since the 80s, then that's a big problem for their narrative. So I set out to try to find some evidence of this longtime friendship, and after hours of looking through videos, I finally came across this.
David Carlson tells me that he has known Belter since they were kids. They grew up over in Sleepy Eye together.
And there you have it.
That is true. Sleepy Eye, Minnesota is where they grew up.
Sleepy Eye, Minnesota, a town that's never had a population of over 4,000 people. And because Vance Bolter is 57, I went over to classmates.com and looked up the yearbooks for Sleepy Eye High School in the 1980s. And sure enough, in the 1984 Sleepy Eye High School yearbook, right on page 22, there is Vance Bolter, and there is David Carlson. And what do you know? There's David Advance right there on the basketball team. So I get why conservative creators would want to smear this guy, but the facts just don't lie.
Debunction Junction is actually really good. I'm trying to find this video. I don't know. It seems like there's a woman that helps. Identify him. Here is that interview. I swear I watched it. I'm sure other people talked about it or I've seen it.
What you saw here.
Can I turn around?
Yeah, just talk to me this way and then describe it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I had to stop over real quick at Stick's house and grab a book. So I literally was on the phone with my dad and I popped in. I wasn't even in the house a minute. I ran in the living room, grabbed what I needed. I ran out, and as I backed the truck up and I was coming down the driveway, I said, Dad, there's somebody in this tall grass behind me. I said, there's somebody in the tall grass, and I said, it's a person. It looks like a SWAT. You know, he was wearing all black, and it looked like he was kind of sweeping the area. And I'm like, well, they're checking the property, so that's what I thought it was. And then the more I'm driving, I'm like, Dad, there's only one person. There's no vehicles.
So did you think that that was really the suspect?
I didn't at first, and then the more I'm like, well, where are the other people? Because the neighbors said they had like 20 SWATs in their yard, you know, and then it dawned on me that Styx isn't here, and they needed his permission, and so then it really kicked in. And then when he got to the culvert, he squatted. And so I was like, that's Dad, that's somebody, you know. So when he said, hang up and call somebody. So when I got to the end of the road here, an officer was actually coming from the east.
And what did you do then?
I rolled down my window and I started waving, and he pulled in. He's like, is everything okay? I said, no, there's somebody here. There's somebody in the culvert. And so he told me to go down to 11 and wait. And then he parked right here. So there's no way that he was able to get out of the culvert. You know, the officer was waiting right here.
So you're in the right place at the right time to really help law
if
enforcement.
You think that, no, I don't know. It was a lot, but yeah, it was. I don't know if he thought I was here to stay, you know, and he just thought he could move, you know. I don't know what his thinking was, but I literally was in the house less than a minute.
In your wildest dreams, you guys have been holed up in your homes for a couple days. Mm-hmm. Did you ever think you would be the one to see him and help law enforcement?
No, I didn't think he was in the area at all. I was like, he's staged it. He's not.
Now I've got to find that video. It's bothering the shit out of me. If I got to spend all night after the show looking for it, I got to find it.
Here, you know, he planted it. He's in a different state.
Your mind's going many directions.
In my head, it feels like I made it up now.
I did not think he was here at all. So when Dad was concerned with me being out, I'm like, Dad, he's not even here. It's fine, you know. So to my surprise, you know, it was not the case. But
it's kind of been an emotional couple of days.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
Well, yesterday was the root of it, obviously, and then today it's really hitting me. Just the more people are reaching out to me, and I'm seeing the bigger impact, because a little old Greeno, right? I'm not thinking of all the stuff that happened in the cities. Yes, that's real and that's big, but I'm thinking of just the neighbors here. You know what I mean? And so the more I'm realizing that, hey, it was a bigger thing than just Green Isle, it's hitting me differently. You know what I mean?
I wonder how many of these people literally think, like, Trump already pardoned these people that are beating the shit out and stabbing cops with flags. He'll take care of me too.
Lots of emotions, lots of stuff going on.
When you woke up yesterday, did you think you would be the one that would help them find this man that they've been looking for?
I wasn't looking. Like I said, I didn't think he was here.
But did I not ask you that everybody else in this interview should ask you?
Let me think. I don't know. My brain is so fried.
What was your initial reaction?
Yeah.
Initially, I was like I said, I was on the phone with Dad, and I was like, that's a person. I knew it was a person. And then I was doubting myself. After I told the officer, I was like, is it a person? You know, was it a deer? Because there's a lot of deer. And I'm like, it was black. It wasn't a deer. Was it a cow? Wasn't a cow. And then I'm like, am I wasting everyone's time? Was it really something? And then when I went down to 11, there was a unit there, I don't know if they were officers or whatever, armed units, and they said they needed to search my car, and they could tell I was shaking, I was disoriented, and they got the info that they could, and they came here, and then everybody came here.
I'm looking at their KTSP5 news, but hell, I don't know which video it is. There's the woman I was just looking at. That's the same news channel. Escape and arrest. Police officer. New Hope police officer. Let's see if this is it, maybe.
We have learned Belter encountered a police officer in New Hope outside Senator Ann Rest's home before the murders in Brooklyn Park.
Investigative reporter Eric Rasmussen shares what we're learning about those moments.
That encounter is raising a lot of questions, and we've been working all day to get answers here from New Hope Police and throughout the city. The biggest question, of course, was there an opportunity to stop Vance Belter before prosecutors say he went on to kill State Rep Hortman and her husband? Stunned reaction on this quiet street in New Hope to learn Vance Belter was just steps away early Saturday morning.
Senator Rest's house is literally walking distance from where I live.
Moments after the shootings of Senator John Hoffman and his wife, prosecutors reveal a New Hope officer sent to check on the home of Senator Ann Rest encountered Belter's black SUV parked on the street.
The New Hope police officer pulled up next to Belter in his car, rolled down her window, and attempted to speak with him. Belter did not respond.
But prosecutors say that officer...
So, like, what the fuck? He's in a fake police car, right? It says proletarian or whatever. He's wearing a mask You pulled up beside him, rolled down your window, and he won't even look at you. And you're just like, well, I'll leave him here for now and maybe be back later.
Officer continued on to the home of Senator Rest, and by the time she connected with her fellow officers, Belter and his SUV were gone. State Rep Melissa Hortman and her husband were later shot and killed in Brooklyn Park.
Captain, this is Eric Rasmussen with KSTP.
Later shot and killed. Later.
We called, emailed, and went to the New Hope Police Department for answers, but so far no one is commenting. No comment about who the officer is or
maybe there wasn't a woman being interviewed. It was just about this female police officer.
Whether she followed protocol by not engaging further. What do you make of people saying that was the chance to stop him before he committed those murders?
I think that that's an unrealistic assessment.
Julie Warwa has lived in this.
So this was probably his first target, right? This is probably his very first target, and he was pushed away from it by cops.
Neighborhood in New Hope for more than 30 years.
It just goes to show how effective his disguise was, that he could fool even seasoned police officers. I have faith in them.
Do you still have that faith today?
Yes, I absolutely do.
Eric Rasmussen, Eyewitness News on 45.
And we want to share a statement from New Hope Police Chief Tim Hoyt. He did not identify that officer, but says she self-dispatched to Senator Rest's home when information about the suspect was still being determined. Hoyt applauded the actions of the officer, which may have saved the senator's life. The senator, in fact, said that.
Oh, so maybe it was after the first shooting, but not before the second shooting?
That officer saved her life.
Wait, that's confusing.
Outside Senator Ann Rest's home before the murders in Brooklyn Park.
Investigative reporter Eric Rasmussen shares what we're learning about those moments.
That encounter is raising a lot of questions.
We have learned Belter encountered a police officer in New Hope outside Senator Ann Rest's home before the murders in Brooklyn Park.
Investigative reporter Eric Rasmussen shares what we're learning about those moments.
That encounter is raising a lot of questions, and we've been working all day to get answers here from New Hope Police and throughout the city. The biggest question, of course, was there an opportunity to stop Vance Belter before prosecutors say he went on to kill State Rep Hortman and her husband? Stunned reaction on this quiet street in New Hope to learn Vance Belter was just steps away early Saturday morning.
Senator Rest's house is literally walking distance from where I live.
Moments after the shootings of Senator John Hoffman and his wife, prosecutors reveal a New Hope officer sent to check on the home of Senator Rest encountered Belter's black SUV parked on the street.
The New Hope police officer
So after the first two shootings, but before the second set of shootings, so this is his second target probably.
next to Belter in his car, rolled down her window, and attempted to speak with him. Belter did not respond.
But prosecutors say that officer continued on to the home of Senator Rest, and by the time she connected with her fellow officers, Belter and his SUV were gone. State Rep Melissa Hortman and her husband were later shot and killed in Brooklyn Park.
Captain, this is Eric Rasmussen with KSTP.
We call.
Okay, that makes more sense. But still, what a weird fucking thing to do. Even if she didn't know, let's say all you knew is that 2 lawmakers had been killed. That's it. We didn't know they were cops, didn't know it was a police. How often do you pull up beside somebody sitting on the street, a block away from a senator's house or whatever, and they're in a fake police car with a fake police uniform wearing a silicone mask?
Aspects of this manhunt is how the suspect got from Brooklyn Park to Minneapolis and then to Green Isle.
Prosecutors say it involved a bus stop meeting, a couple $1,000s, and an e-bike. Fox 9's Paul Bloom takes us through this part of the story now coming into view through federal charges. Paul, what do you know?
Yeah, Courtney, well, these federal charges that Mary just detailed really providing the insights and helping us connect the dots of this weekend. A timeline from the deadly attacks through the massive manhunt and the ultimate capture of Vance Belter down there in rural Sibley County. We're also now seeing allegedly what he was telling his family while on the run. For the very first time, we are seeing text messages Vance Belter reportedly exchanged with his family during the massive manhunt. And this one detailed in federal court filings. Belter writes in a group chat, quote, "Dad went to war last night. I don't want to say more because I don't want to implicate anybody." And to his wife, quote, "Words are not going to explain how sorry I am for this situation. There's going to be some people coming to the house armed and trigger happy, and I don't want you guys around." His wife and kids were eventually pulled over during a traffic stop with law enforcement finding approximately $10,000 in cash, family passports, and a legally owned gun. Authorities said the wife was cooperative and no arrests were made.
She was cooperative with us at that time. There were a firearm in the vehicle at the time, had valid reasons for her to, she was legally in possession.
We are also learning more in federal court filings about that Buick sedan Belter allegedly abandoned near his home in Sibley County Sunday. Charging documents reveal he bought the vehicle from a person he had never met following the deadly attacks. In the midst of that manhunt, prosecutors allege Belter met up with the person at the North Minneapolis bus stop. They rode to the person's home, and for $900, Belter bought the car and an e-bike he also may have used while on the run. Belter, still armed, would eventually surrender to authorities in a farm field near his Green Isle home Sunday night.
This case became the largest coordinated manhunt in Minnesota's history. We are proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with our law enforcement partners across the state. No single agency could have done this alone. And because of that unified effort, a dangerous individual was taken into custody. Let me say this clearly. Political violence has no place in this country.
Also worth noting here, while outside the government center, the state courthouse, Vance Belter is facing murder charges in Hennepin County, currently second degree. Hennepin County Attorney's Office has vowed to get a first degree premeditated murder indictment, which would come with a life sentence without the possibility of release upon conviction. But as Mary reported there off the top, the feds will go first. We're live outside the Hennepin County Government Center for you tonight. Paul Bloom, Fox 9.
All right, thanks, Paul. Now, once again, this...
He's in his notebook, he talks about using True People Search, Truth Finder, People Finder, Been Verified, Ownerly, how to get people's addresses, going through the county's things, like the county websites, property assessor, shit like that. That was all some of the stuff that was found in his SUV. Shit is wild, dude. I just don't understand that one cop. What the fuck? What's that one cop doing? That seems like such a fucking red flag, right? I don't know. I am glad that Karen Reed is free. Maybe we'll do a show and going over that at some point. He bought the Buick and an e-bike. Whatever. Texting his wife, telling her to get out of town, and she listened to him. She didn't call the cops. She listened to him and then ended up getting pulled over. The whole thing's kind of crazy. But clearly he's a far-right Christian nationalist Trump supporter. There's no doubt about that. And the fact that they're trying so hard, like using fake fucking pictures of him, like a different person that slightly looks like him, to try to say, oh, he's at a BLM rally. You think that's a Trump supporter? I don't know. Shit's wild. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here tonight. I'm still waiting on updates for my VA stuff, so if you want to support the show, do that at coldbeer.fund. That would be greatly appreciated. We'll be able to pay the bills around here for another month. Yeah, that would be awesome if you can. And if not, we're still hanging in there. So let's see what happens. We do have, we will be going to Florida at the first of next month. My aunt is having us come down and we can stay for free at her home down there. So we'll be down there for almost over 5 days, something like that. So thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. Look forward to some time away and hopefully getting a decision from the VA. That's all I can think about right now. But either way, support the show if you can. We appreciate it. And we'll see you about the next one. Have a good night. Love you. See you. Bye. Yeah, there was no way we were going to be able to afford to take a vacation. The flood wiped out every bit of the savings we had put together to like rainy day fund or whatever. Tell them exactly. I don't know. It was it fucked us bad. But my aunt just randomly called and it's like, hey, you guys can come down here, and my sister's going to meet us down there too. So get to see her and her family as well. And it won't cost us anything but the gas to drive there. So. If the VA gets my shit figured out, they're going to owe me some back pay as well, hopefully. So we'll see. That would be a nice, just not to spend it on anything, just to stick it in the bank in case something else fucking goes wrong at some point. And maybe some cocaine. Not a lot. Like enough to party for 3 weeks or so. Right. He's strapped to the shaft, beating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'm gonna make your gut burst. I'll be your huckleberry, I can quench that thirst. Baby eating lizard people, alien sex. What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk. A retard in a vest, climbing up. I didn't see Michaela Roberts. Here we go, I think I started some shit. A line long enough for a stripper's leg, that's right. Started her ankle bone. Stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen nothing yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in them beds, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen nothing yet. I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason Q's bedroom. Open his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped it to my shoes and then I flew through the roof. I found myself in orbit strapped to an F-16. I need to get back in therapy. Put on a light coat of baby. For real. He tapped me on the shoulder and said, "This is gonna be it." Whoa, wait.
Before you guys see me on the nose. I'll get my files. What are you doing? Stop. Fucking stop. Dude, come on. Seriously. My mom's an alcoholic. Give me a... Oh, my God. Damn it.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet.
Round 3. Down goes Nino. Please say it isn't so. Got him backed up on the ropes, trying to ram it down his throat. Now things are getting rocking. He was doing so well. It's all over. Hands on his shoulders. They ringing his bell. You got Frog News Network doing no damn research. They be working copy on Cox that came first. 9th inning, second string, and they acting like they know hitters. Assholes throwing bullshit, shouldn't bro.
Have a good night, guys.
All this nonsense on my conscience. It's hard.
I have Cash App and PayPal. My PayPal is under my email address, coldbeerconfess@gmail.com.
Believing in reason for no meaning is bullshit. Will Bird motherfuckers out here busting the grifts.
Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit.
You guys have a good night.
Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet.
You don't have those guts, cause you're a pussy. You're a pussy where an AV